course I'm a pirate. I'm hijacking religions in the sea of life.
Even when we disagree, we still not enemies. Relax and understand. Even when we disagree, we still not enemies.
Don't tape the screen, share that, repost that. Welcome to the Taser Show.
Step out to the mic, talk your truth.
Let it flow.
All we want is honesty when you speak. If you fake it, you prove my point.
Welcome to the Taser Show.
Bakanga.
I always just disappear. That's just a part of life. Disappearing is the name of the game. But without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go straight to the point. Send your request if and only if you disagree. Today will be a quick live. So when you come up, please don't waste my time. Just go straight expressing what you think. I'm not going to wait too long for people to come in. So please do tap the screen. Tap the screen.
All right, question, bro. If God is not real, you just came about on earth? Human race just came about, just randomly just appear.
Is that the best that your mind can do? That you think that if there is no God?
That's the question I asked. You said ask questions and I'm asking, did human just appear? Randomly appear.
When did I say to ask questions?
All right, look, bye.
Religious people, with all due respect, okay, this is not even to shit on your religion. You really think that if your religion is not true, if God doesn't exist, then there could be, that means there's no explanation? Even if we don't know everything right now? One way or another, there's an explanation for the world. It's just not the fairy tales that human beings cook up. That's all we're saying. How did human beings even get about making up fairy tales to explain away things that they ought to have been looking into it practically, realistically, scientifically? Because religion sells. Religion makes it easy to control the masses. Right? Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while, I know. Like I said, I got abducted by aliens. But now I'm back. I'm back with a message for the world. What's up, Azure? How are you? Stay tapping the screen, y'all. Tap the screen, tap the screen, tap the screen. You are not late for class. It's only been about 4 minutes that we've been online. There's still no God. There still will never be a God. And there still hasn't never been a God. Even though Bakanga disappeared for a month. That's good to hear, Azure. Good to see that you're doing good. It looks like things are calming down in the Middle East, huh? You can never trust anything that happens in the Middle East. There's only one way that the whole thing in the Middle East ends up. There is only one way. When the Western powers can assure that an Islamic empire will never rise up again in the Middle East, that's when all the problems in the Middle East would end. But as long as they are great Muslim countries, that want to grow, that want to become powerful, there will always be problems in the Middle East. We will always be flirting with World War III. Where have I been? I keep telling y'all I got abducted by aliens. And they gave me a message for the world. Oh, let me guess. Religious people, y'all thought y'all the only one that could have awesome experiences? For a whole month, indeed. Nah, I didn't see Trump on the alien ship. I saw somebody else, though. I saw the Pope. Right before he took his trip to Africa. Oh, man, I wish I was online when the Pope went to Cameroon. Can you imagine that Pope Leo went to Africa and gave a speech condemning dictators and those who like to fight wars and those who oppress the people? People like Donald Trump, people like the Iranian regime. He was doing that while having accepted the invitation of a dude that has been in power in Africa, well, Cameroon to be precise, since 1982. That guy, who is the president of Cameroon, he's 94 years old, complete dementia, somehow always wins the elections, and the Pope didn't call that out. Obviously, that is the hypocrisy of the empires that rule this generation, right? Most of you don't care about current events, and I feel your pain, right? Life is all about survival. Most of you are busy surviving. You don't got time to worry about all these things. But I can assure you, if you keep sleeping, one day you're going to wake up. Though God doesn't exist, they're going to give you an AI God. Oh, hello? Hello? Whatever she's doing. What did y'all think about that? What did y'all think about the attempted assassination at the White House correspondent dinner? How many people say it was staged and how many people say it was real? Look, if we can't even tell if something like that is real or fake, where do you think we're going to be in the future, y'all? If we can't tell if something like what happened at that dinner, if we can't tell if it's real or not, at what point do we realize that we're absolutely and completely fucked? Of course, anyone that's paying attention definitely has that instinct inside of them that tells you that something is not right about it, right? And don't you find it suspicious how something always happens just right about when we should be focusing on certain things? Something always happens to take away the attention of the public. To be honest, what's the solution? American politics is the political system that affects the world the most. That's why no matter where you are in the world, you should pay attention to American politics. We are living in the American Empire, okay? This era will be known as the American Empire. We don't know how history is going to record it, right? Where are my religious people at, y'all? Don't stop tapping the screen. I know I haven't been online in a month, so the algorithm is usually not not necessarily the friendliest. Can't wait for it to end. So sick of it. Nothing is going to end. Let me tell y'all about the reality of the world. The reality of our world states that the world will always be fucked up, okay? That no matter how advanced human beings get in technology and science, there will always be greed. To eliminate suffering, man-made suffering, to eliminate exploitation, you will need to eliminate greed. Greed is what led to the creation of systems such as religious systems, political systems, as we see them today. And it's not like these systems are completely evil. No, the systems benefit some people. You know, right now, gas prices in California are in the $5 and $6, right? If you live paycheck to paycheck, or you got a little bit of your savings, maybe you got to pay $100 to fill your gas tank. But there's some rich people that problem doesn't even register. There is a massive amount of the population where that problem, right, a small increase in gas prices, it doesn't even register. Because there are always those that benefit from any system. Kind of like the pastors benefit from the religious systems. What's up, Reaper?
What's up?
What you got, bro?
I just like your videos. I've been watching you. I agree with you.
Well, I said there is no God. Why do you believe in God? Since you agree with me, it looks like you might need to step right back into the audience, my brother. That means you got it figured out.
Set me back.
Say that again?
Set me back to the audience.
Indeed. Thank you, my brother. When people say they agree with me, what exactly do you agree with? Okay, those of you who agree with me, right? When you say you agree with me, what exactly do you agree with? What exactly is Bakanga's position? Do you agree with the fact that I said there is no God? And what do you understand by that in your own words, in your own way of looking at it? And how relevant is it to your day-to-day life and ultimately to the decisions you make? You know? How you come into the understanding that there is no God is very important, because what a person believes always affects what a person does. What a person doesn't believe can also affect what a person does, because of those who believe in what you don't believe. Okay, as long as there are some people out there that believe something, even if you don't believe it, you can still be affected. In fact, you will still be affected. So when we say there is no God, it carries huge implications. Now, here's the thing. We can definitely say that there's chaos in the world, right? And you can look at the world and say some people are evil, some people are bad, and some people are ridiculous. To be honest, there's no need to water that down. There's some people who just like everything they do it with like selfish, greedy, hostile intentions, right? What we would perceive as evil. But inherently they're not, right? It's just a game of survival of the fittest. So the number one thing that every living person needs to ensure is what? You got to ensure your survival and the survival of your allies. Joseph. Hello? Bruh, is something wrong with my internet? Because every guest that has sent a request, for some reason, all right, let's see if it's much better now. Send your request if and only if you disagree. Looks like the algorithmic bugs were bugging. Joseph, I see that your request is still in here. Disconnect. As long as there's no disagreement, we're just going to be talking anyways.
Yes, Bakanga.
What you got?
I disagree about everything you say. You say there is no God. How do you know there is no God?
Because I don't see one anywhere.
Because you don't see. And that's make you sure there is no God. That's not a proof. Or basically.
I mean, if that's not proof, you tell me where you ever seen God at. Have you ever seen God anywhere?
Yeah.
Where?
I see God everywhere.
Where?
I see God on me, on you, in the trees, and this environment.
So
everywhere.
when you see, when you say you see God everywhere, what does that make God? What is God? What is God to you?
Well, God is the ultimate power, is the destructive, is the constructor of this world.
Yeah, okay. Who told you that?
And nobody told me. I can see that.
So you woke up one morning and you went outside, you look at trees and you said, wow, that the tree is God.
No, not like that. When I see the trees.
Like how?
Just give me a minute. When I see the trees, yeah, and I see the sea, everything basically in this world, yeah. I need attention so I can carry on. Otherwise, I will be lost.
I'm listening to you.
Yeah, I just need attention. When I see you, I can talk. No problem. Yeah. So you see this world, the construction of this world, the sea, the trees, the every single thing in this world, yeah, is function. It has function, create life, and it keep doing
Yeah,
that.
but I still don't understand what that has to do with God. Just
That's
because
God.
everything in this world has function.
That's what means God.
Who told you that?
Nobody told me.
Okay, then you are wrong. That doesn't mean God. That's nature. That's called
Why?
nature, bro. It's not complicated. Everything you've just described, we already have a categorization for it that everybody understands, right? We don't fight about it. That's nature.
The definition of God, yeah? Definition of God.
Are you saying that God is nature?
Yeah.
Okay, that means that God is just an idea because nature is just an idea that describes
It's
the
not
fact
an
that
idea.
how things exist.
It's not an idea. We call it
If it's
that.
not an idea, is it a person?
No, we give it that name. Yeah?
Is it a person?
No, it's not a person.
Okay, if it's not a person, is it a thing?
It is what it is, and we give it that
Is
God
it a
name.
thing? If it's not a person, is it a thing?
It is a thing, yes.
What kind of thing is it?
It's a thing as it is. It's a nature. A nature is a thing.
So God is a thing as it is.
Yeah. It's
So
a nature.
if I went outside of my house and I saw a dog,
Forget the name God.
No, relax.
No, forget the. Okay, I'm with you. Forget the name God. Yeah.
No,
Nature is a
why
nation.
should I forget the name God? The whole point, the whole conversation is God. What are you talking about?
I'm coming back.
If you forget the name God, then
At
you
the
and I
end-
no
at-
longer
at
have
the
an
end,
argument. No, brother. The moment you remove the name God, you and I are now on the same page. I don't care what you say out of your mouth. If you remove the fictitious character, that means your brain is reasoning. Okay? So listen, it's like someone telling me that, wait, look, when I look at all of nature, I see Father Christmas. I see Santa Claus. Bro, I will automatically stop listening to you. Now, if you tell me that, well, remove Santa Claus, and then you talk about nature, then I'm like, okay, what you're saying makes sense.
Okay, Santa Claus is a fiction character.
Yeah, you cannot.
It is.
It's like
There is
you
nothing-
trying
there
to
is nothing-
explain. It's like you trying to explain how the world was created, and then you start talking about Superman. The moment you mention God, God is a fictitious character invented by human beings. God,
Exactly,
and it takes different shapes and form based on different human cultures. And depending on how old a culture or a tradition is, the more dedicated and committed, the more the people of that nation have their identity intertwined with that specific fiction. That's how religious systems are built, okay? The whole world is systems.
No, I'm not talking about religions. We're talking here about God, aren't we?
You cannot talk about God without talking about religion. Use your brain.
Why?
It's like you talking about politics without talking about government. Can you talk about politics without talking about government?
Yeah.
Then you cannot talk about God without talking about religion.
No, I can't talk about politicals without talking about government.
Politics is government.
Nah. Politics mean...
Okay, tell me something political without insinuating or referencing government. Go ahead.
Political sometimes, you know, when you... Just give me... Okay, after you finish whatever you're doing.
Give me an example of something political without referencing government in any way, shape, or form. What is politics without government?
Politics. Oh, sorry. I made a mistake. I saw the logic. Okay. Politics. I don't know anything about politics. But I know about God.
Talking about God without talking about religion is like talking about politics without talking about government. It's like talking about a car without talking about the road. It's like talking about an airplane without talking about the air. God is an idea that human beings have shaped and formed over different generations within different religious systems. It's a religious subject.
What is the definition of God?
As believed in monotheistic religions, Christianity, for example, to be the supreme being, the creator of the universe, and the source of all moral authority. So you see, even within the definition of the word God, the standard definition, it's within monotheistic religion. It's within religion. So if you start talking about God outside of religion, you're not talking about God anymore, bro. You're not talking about the same God that your religion mentions, right? For example, if you're a Christian and you talk about God outside of the context of Christianity, that's not the same as the Christian God.
Okay.
The Christian God is glued idealistically.
Look, it's like you saying, it's like you saying a banana is tasting that way and it is color, it is yellow and tasting like sweet, and you just add it to the, you know, anything other than
I don't know what you're trying to say, but here's the point I'm trying to make to you, brother. Listen to me. Just because you see the marvels of the world, you see that there is nature, there's intelligence, that doesn't equate to a fictitious character. It doesn't mean that one supreme almighty being made it. There's multiple explanations. Even relax. Even within the context of creation, even if, let's say, what we see around us was created, there's no saying who created it, how many people were involved. Those are all equally as possible. Before you even imagine that there was one person that had the power to create everything, you must first imagine that everything could have been created by different creators throughout time in different ways, shapes, or form. Okay, take for something, for example, like the earth. Is it possible that the person who created the earth is not the same person who created human beings? What if somebody created the earth?
Why you say person?
Hold up, relax. Let us assume that the world was created, right?
Of course it's created, of course.
No, relax.
It's created.
Let's assume that it was created, okay?
Yes.
Okay, which one do you think is more likely? That the mystery to life is far beyond human understanding, but that there is different forms of life that exist even outside of what human beings now understand. Some of them possess high intelligence, but not invincible, not all powerful, not almighty, but just very high level of science, high level of logic, high level of IQ. And they've developed civilizations in different places in existence. What is the chance that there is a group or a civilization that is intelligent enough to terraform planets or create gravitational fields and form planets? They have the ability to engineer our form of life, our type of life. Do you think that that is less likely than a supreme being that says, let there be light, and there was light, and the light just popped out of the sky?
No, that's
Which one do you think is more possible?
That's a miss. That's a miss. But when you mention nature, when you say nature formed us or wherever, that's a
brother, are you tracking?
That's a creation.
Yes, even if there is a creation, it doesn't mean that there was one creator.
I did not say there is a one creator. I did not say that.
No, what you said there was God.
Yeah.
Okay, God is a singular entity
No.
Is that God the creator of all things?
What is nature? Nature is one thing, isn't it?
No, the God you believe in, is that the creator of all things?
I don't believe in any God. I don't believe in any God.
Nice throw. You know what? Sometimes that's what you need. You know, there's something called put yourself in other people's shoes, right? For those of you who don't believe in God. Yeah, hello, I can hear you. Give me a second.
Hey, give me a second.
No, give me a second, bro. I'm saying something. Oh, never mind. Anyways, for those of you who don't believe in God, right? This is something you should do. You should do this often. Try to put yourself in a religious person's shoes and try to see the world from their perspective and try to defend that position. Now, there are multiple possible outcomes. You might be stressed beyond understanding. You might just give up and not want to help. Or you might develop empathy for religious people and understand that nobody is religious. It is nobody's fault that they're religious because we're all born into this world where these systems have already been established, right? So it almost depends on where and when you are born. If you are born as part of the elite, those that control the system, those that have influence within the system, you have a completely different experience than someone who was born down the street to a regular family, right? So the more you can put yourself in a religious person's shoes and even come up here, right? You can come up here and act like you're religious even if you're not. See what you get out of the experience. See what your mind can cook up. And if religious people could do this for non-religious people, the world would be slightly better than it is right now, right? Religious people, if you can put your feet in the shoes of those who don't believe and try to think for 1 second as a person who doesn't believe, you might develop more empathy. Anyways, what's up?
Yo, what's up?
What you got, bro?
Yeah, you got up here the interrogation. There is no God. So I just wanted to come up and see what the whole deal was about. Why don't you believe in God? Or you want to ask me questions?
You shall be interrogated, and I appreciate your enthusiasm and your willingness to abide by the format of the program. So, sir, there's a question very obviously on the screen. It says, why do you believe in God? Would you mind beginning from there and give me short, brief answers? I don't want long explanations, right? So you seem to be, you sound like a man that knows what he's talking about. So give me a brief, straightforward, and yet possessing everything you would like to communicate as far as why you believe in God. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, I believe in God because I believe that the universe is just so complex. There has to be an explanation to everything. I don't think everything is by chance. So in my mind, there must be something with intelligence that orchestrated everything. So that's why I believe in a God, a creator.
Not everything is by chance, and there must be an intelligence responsible for the order we see. Is that a good enough paraphrasing?
Yeah.
Did I still man your position good enough?
I would say so, yeah.
Not everything is by chance, and there must be an intelligence responsible for the order we see. Okay, I got a couple of questions. Before I even ask you what you think God is, let me ask you, what is chance?
Well, chance, or I guess randomness, is just, my understanding of randomness is basically there not being any intent behind something happening, or
chance is the lack of intent. Lack of intent.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's my best understanding of the word.
Chance. Chance is the lack of intent. So let's go back. You said not everything is by chance. There must be an intelligence responsible for the order we see. And then ultimately, chance is the lack of intent. Does order require intent?
Yes. In my understanding, yes.
Okay. If you are driving your car down the road and I'm standing by the road and there's a puddle and you're in a hurry to take your wife to the hospital so she can give birth, so you don't notice the puddle, and you are driving, clearly intended to get to the hospital, and when your car crosses where I am, you splash a whole bunch of muddy water on me. Is there an order to how the water is splashed when it is driven upon by the water and how it lands on me? Do you think there's like an order that we can say is an order?
Yeah.
Did that happen intentionally?
Yeah, I believe the way in which gravity works, I think that was intended to happen by the creator.
Well, you assume an intender even in the absence of any evidence that
I do assume.
one.
Yes, I do assume, and humans assume on a daily basis.
Even if, despite the contrary.
What is I think randomness is not a contrary to.
No, randomness just means without any specific intent. This is something that we've already discovered and understood about our world. That some things happen with specific intent, and those things typically have something in common. And other things do exist that come about without any specific intent. Usually, what determines the outcome will be the unique constitutions of whatever it is that is interacting with each other, right? So, like, when water meets fire, there's no intention necessary to lead to the outcome that follows because of the unique constitution of water. So rain may form with no specific intent involved there, and it might fall right when there is a volcano, and guess what? The rain will interact with the magma. Something will happen, but that something is not happening based on any specific intent. Intention will have to precede all the happenings. Intention will have to explain the unique constitutions of everything that exists. We see things emerge through different interactions of different things in nature, just changing shapes and forms, but we don't see any intention necessary. And the way we know that there's no intender is because the way things happen in nature, it doesn't necessarily give desired outcome. We don't see anybody taking credit for the outcome. And from the human perspective, sometimes the outcome is devastating. You know, when an earthquake happens, we don't give a fuck whose intention it is. The point is we could die. And sometimes 50,000 people die, like the earthquake that happened in Turkey and Syria. You know, when the tsunami comes, whose intent is it? Right? This creator. How did you even come to the conclusion that there's this creator? I know I said a lot, but go ahead.
Yeah, I came to the conclusion by just understanding that the world is just so complex. The universe is just so complex. There's no way there's no creator.
Man, I like the way you turned, the way you say your stuff. It seems like you don't really need to explain too much and you're following along. Okay, I like that. The world is too complex. The world is too complex. Now, let me just retract a little bit, okay? I would like to assume that the reason why you're now going towards complexity is because you couldn't do it with the word chance. Because I just demonstrated to you, be it as it may, not to the best degree possible, that chance doesn't necessarily mean the order that we see doesn't necessarily mean that it's not by chance, right? That the world can exist as it is right now totally by chance. Especially if you go into the definition of the word in depth. Things do happen by chance. In fact, everything does really happen by chance. Because what is intention? What is intention? How do intentions form, and how do you qualify, quantify, and validate an intention? How do you necessarily say that something is happening as intended if you're not the intender? You can assume intention.
Yeah, I just assume intention.
Yes, even when things happen intentionally, is the outcome necessarily always directly a direct product of the action taken due to the intention? Do we ever get unintended consequences? I say yes, most of the time. In fact, 99% of the time, you're going to get unintended consequences. In fact, that's how we learn. Those unintended consequences teach us things that we didn't know. Sometimes sheds more light on what we already knew. Sometimes it helps us see that we were previously wrong. That's what a new discovery is, an unintended consequence. So chance doesn't necessarily conclude that there is a God. Now, complexity, just because something is complex doesn't necessarily reflect upon the world, bro. It's reflective on your intellect. So if you look at the world and the world looks complex, it's because compared to, I guess, the level of intelligence necessary to demystify or simplify that complexity, you're just dumber. Now, if you became smarter, then it might not be as complex as you thought, which you've already experienced that. Think about how complex the world was to you when you were a kid. But you did end up growing up, you learned a bunch of stuff at home, and you went to school and you learned. And now, most of what was complex for you when you were a child is just simple stuff. So complexity doesn't necessarily mean that there is a God involved. It just means you're not smart enough to understand the world yet. And the things that you have dedicated time and discipline to learn, you have been able to understand. And when you study things to the simple level, you just don't see any God. In fact, ultimately, you're going to be able to simplify everything to zero.
I mean, I don't really. So you're saying that us as humans can understand everything there is to know about the world.
Our only, how do I put it? The only thing that makes it impossible for us to do that is our lifespan. So we need to win the battle against death. And this is not something that would come externally. This is an internal evolution. Human intelligence have arrived at the level where we've figured out that we can accelerate a process that would otherwise have been natural, which is evolution. We can induce certain types of, things to our genome, introduce certain types of things to our genome to facilitate resistance to disease, develop immunity, and give birth to human beings that are more and more immune to the things that kill us, right? Eventually, we're going to want to conquer gravity. Totally. A person can jump from any height and not be splashed. That's pretty much what we spend our time. In fact, if that opportunity didn't exist, life would be very boring on Earth. If human beings didn't have something to chase for, if there was not this eminent need to ensure our survival, human beings will not be creative. Our intellect will not be at the level where it is right now. And guess what? Eventually, everything that we now think is God that makes, the more we learn, the more we realize that God is not even involved. As complex and as amazing as the world seems right now, so much that you can't imagine it happening naturally. You think to yourself, it must be someone super smart. But when you become super smart, you're going to realize, nah, this is actually just random and natural.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say.
Yeah, you can't really have anything else to say because the whole idea ultimately, and I don't mean this in an insulting way, it's just your feelings. And I don't want to invalidate that part of it. I don't want to invalidate that part of it where when you sit down and you look at the world and it's complex and you see things that we do have answers for and certain things we don't have answers for, there's that part of you that it's entertaining, it's fulfilling to just imagine possibilities. And there's some possibilities that you imagine and it just resonates with you so tightly that you take it and make it the anchor of your worldview. That's how gods work. That's why someone looks at the idea of Allah and they think that the idea of Allah is just so touching to them that they take it and make it the center of their worldview and call themselves a Muslim. There's somebody else has the exact same experience, except they call themselves a Christian. And they're both so sure that they're both right and nobody else is right. You see?
Yeah.
That's how the delusion works. Meanwhile, there's that mad, crazy scientist who just keeps asking, why does this work like this? Why does this have to do this? If I do this, what would happen? If I do this, what would happen? Oh, look at that. If I mix salt with water, I get this. Oh, holy cow. You know? If I do this to lithium, I get this. If I do this to gold, I get this. It wasn't by praying that human beings figured out the world. It was by investigation. It wasn't spiritual. It was natural. Spirituality is the distraction. Physicality is the reality. And there is a method to that madness. A person's state of being is usually reflective of if they understand it or not. That's why rich people, they secure their physical foundation before they ever start doubly-dabbling in the rest of the cuckoo gaga. They get successful before they get addicted to the drugs, don't they? Because fulfillment is found in that battle, in that thriving. And it was a process that we were engaged in when our intellect wasn't even sophisticated enough to understand it. But now that we kind of understand what's happening to us, it doesn't mean that we now start giving credit to some imaginary beings. Nah. As far as we know, we only got ourselves, bro. As human beings, we only got humanity. If we were to face an external threat right now, we're not sitting down here counting for help from externally. Though the vast majority of human beings are that gullible and unproductive and don't contribute anything, so much that their first instinct will be to go down on their knees and start praying. There are some who are smart. Over the years, they've built military capabilities that are capable of mass destructions. Though in the absence of a common enemy, we used it to terrorize each other. But what happens when a common enemy shows up? All of a sudden, having a nuke is not a bad idea. Right? If all of a sudden we got up one day and we looked up the sky and there was all types of weirdly shaped spaceship with weirdly shaped creatures coming out of there all around the world, shoot, are we not going to wish every country had a nuke? Is China going to be nuking America? No. So why do we have so many nuclear weapons when we don't even need 1% of it to destroy the whole world? Because there's smart people in the world. They understand the world as it is. Human beings, we have absolutely no clue anything outside of humanity in terms of understanding if there's a different life form and being able to guarantee that it's not going to be hostile towards us. That's why some people build systems and other people live in them. Like racism. Racism is not a person. It's a system. It's not a white person. It's a system. And any variation of racism you see, it's possible from a human being of any race and any skin color because it's a matter of character and behavior. A product of a certain type of ignorance. If you're black, you can be racist. If you're white, you can be racist. If you're Asian, you can be racist. It's not a person. But throughout time, there are stories and there are things that have happened where one group was racist towards another. Even when, even within different groups or within the same type of race, you still have tribalism, which is just the same exact type of hate, except towards someone who looks just like you for a different reason other than how they look.
I mean,
we have a lot of work to do as human beings.
Yeah.
We got to get off the fiction, bro. We got to get off the cuckoo gaga. When it's time to pay your bills, you don't get spiritual, do you? When it's time to eat, you don't get spiritual, do you?
I mean, I think me personally, I thank God for the opportunities I have in my lifetime. Like,
what happens once you thank God? What happens to you once you thank God?
Well, it's not like a physical outcome. I'm just acknowledging that, like, in at least in my belief, maybe if God didn't exist, I wouldn't have this opportunity.
What if you do have the opportunity and God doesn't exist? Where does the credit go?
Well, if God didn't exist, I don't think I'd be here.
No, forget what you don't think. Because it is possible that you could be here if God doesn't exist, because what we know for sure is that you are here and we don't have any concrete evidence that God does exist. So it's definitely possible that you could exist even if God is not here. My question to you is, when you assume that God is the reason why you're here, how do you come to that conclusion? And does the truth matter to you? How does that affect you? How does that thought affect you? When you think that God made everything, what does that do for you? Does that make you feel safe? Make you feel secure? Make you feel good in the inside?
Yeah,
how does it make you feel?
I have peace in my mind. I have peace knowing that, I don't have to worry too much.
Oh, so your problem is not God. Your problem is that if you don't believe that there's a God, you're going to be worrying.
Yeah, I'd feel like I'm on my own.
So your ignorance has taken you so captive that rather than investigating the world and dealing with the fact that some things you would know, some things you wouldn't, you just conjured up a story, then convince yourself that the story must be true. And if it's not true, then you will lose yourself. What happens when you then face concrete evidence that, guess what? The story you told yourself was a lie. You know what happens to you in that state? Something called cognitive dissonance, which is what happens to religious people when they face people like me and I bring a rhetoric that is different from the echo chambers of your religious hallways. Right? In your religious environment, everyone is constantly whispering, oh, thank God. God is good. God is this. You are caught up in a mix, lost and drunk in man-made rituals. Rituals that are being made and edited in real time right in front of you. And you're doing it while believing that it's divine, while ignoring the faculties of your intellect that were given to you through birth. The most powerful and most efficient tool that you could ever use in this world. You ignore its most efficient and primary function and use it for your entertainment. Why? Because of your insecurities? Nah, they teach us to mature as children through discipline. You don't always have to control everything in order to be able to do your best. Telling yourself a lie in order not to face reality, it's a terrible state to be in.
So you believe, let me get this straight. Right, since God doesn't exist, and at least you believe God doesn't exist, you believe you're alone. Like you live your life alone, right?
The best way to know if I live my life alone is if I die, who will I die with? If I die, who dies? Is it my father that dies? Is it my mother that dies? Is it if I had a wife, if I had children? Is it my friends who die? If I die, who dies? It's me, right? So if I live, who lives? When I die, who do I die with? When I live, who do I live with? I live with myself. We are fundamentally alone. That's why we have to get to know the world. That's why we have to seek to relate. But even no matter how much you relate, there's always that reality that no matter how close you get to the world will cast you out anyways. So many people are caught in that dilemma. Should I invest myself into the world, or should I settle for the reality that I'm just going to die anyways? What's the point of working so hard? That's when the ideas like legacy. It's not even a legacy. Human beings have learned through experience that developing a mind that desires to leave a legacy allows us to find purpose within ourselves. But most people don't have that skill. So those who are greedy and powerful and hungry for power created systems to sell people purpose, to sell people value, and people buy. People buy because they don't want to do the work. That's how religion sells. It's the oldest business, the oldest infrastructure. That means from our origins, religion was already a thing. And what exactly is this? The fact that when human beings didn't know about the world, someone always got up to explain it. And people just accepted the explanation without any investigation. And human beings have accumulated thousands and millions of explanations that were born out of people's feelings. Who knows? From different methods. Every once in a while, ideas that were discovered through science would slip into these religions. So think of the religion as a piece of cloth that's woven with linen. Different lines of linen, right? 99% of it is fake linen, but there's a few chords of true linen in it. But the whole clothes is not authentic. That's what religion is. Religion is a system that human beings invented to sell people purpose who cannot develop it for themselves. That's why what your religion tells you, your religion doesn't just tell you what the world is. Your religion tells you who you are and tells you how you should behave. The moment you find yourself in that position, my only question to you as a grown adult human beings, what use is your brain if you couldn't even figure out who you are without a system having to tell you, and if you couldn't even figure out what the world is through your own experiences without being delusional? In a world where everyone actually figures out their own purpose for themselves, you find that world to be far more productive. People will not be becoming doctors because it pays, pilots because it pays. It's because it's something that they desire to do and they want to leave a legacy. They have already reached the point beyond survival. So now they are actually living. So nothing that they do anymore is for their own survival. Now they find purpose in facilitating other people's survival by helping figure out the world as it is rather than how we feel like it should be.
Well, it just seems like if that is the case, though.
Walk out of your house today, look up on the sun and look at all the marvels around you. Take a deep breath and swallow some spit and understand that there is no God, and yet the world is right in front of you. What will you do? Will you cower back into your house and paint the walls with more of your delusions? Or will you dare venture into the unknown, ready to face any battle to your dying breath? Every step you take, you learn more about the world. And when you move with purpose, confident in yourself, while accepting your reality, your every step leaves a mark on the ground that becomes a trail for others to follow. And where your journey ends, it might not happen the next day, but one day someone will walk down that path and take a step further than you took. Any system in the world that is built the way I have just described is what's led to the progress that we see. Medicine, engineering, science. That's the real world, bro. Not the world of sitting down, getting high, and making up fairy tales in your head. Fairy tales that, though, the more we learn about the world, we find it to be completely inconsistent with the results we get. We've now learned that in ancient times, they thought that certain disease were viruses, when it was, were demons, when it was just germs and viruses. They thought that if you were born disabled, that's because your parents sinned and you were cursed. That's the type of bullshit they believed. And in a system where you believe that kind of bullshit, you incentivize people to make up lies. That's why in the religious environment, there's this need to fit in, where they don't manage how truthful people's personal experiences are. So people kind of like understand that if something happens to me, I'm allowed to believe what I think it is and then say it out loud as if that's actually what it is. Oh, I saw God. God came to me last night. Why? Because I had a dream that I saw someone with shining eyes. So when I go to church, I give a testimony, or if I'm talking to a friend, I say, Jesus came to me. All of a sudden, you forget what the fuck a dream is.
Okay.
Because it's not a dream. It must be that God came to you. You see, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that we live in a day and time where using our minds in that way is proven to be far more detrimental, especially in certain groups, like in the African American, Black and African communities.
I mean,
the idea of religion has totally fucked our communities and literally wasted majority of our potential to the last century. Not just the last century, the last millennium.
Well, I mean, it just seems like a lot of people who do actually believe in God, they end up becoming successful. There's a lot of successful people at the top even that believe in a creator.
That is why on your journey to the top, one of the first things you're going to learn that there is no God and that these systems are all man-made. And once you understand that, you can really carve out a piece of it for yourself and your progeny. Generational wealth. Generational wealth is not just cash. It's also information. Okay? There's certain things that you know that give you an edge in the world, that when you actually know it, you desire to pass it down, hidden and safely, towards those whom you chose to benefit the most from it. That's why religious people, ultimately, if you're going to leave financial wealth to your children, but you didn't leave them the training, you didn't bring them up to be the kind of human beings that can manage that financial wealth, then you might as well have just thrown it away. That's why what you leave for your kids, it's an inheritance of physical wealth and a wealth of information. So you cannot afford to be misinformed. If you don't know something about the world, rather than just making up what you feel like it is, it's better to just say you don't know. So at least your kids can start from a position of I don't know and actually get to figure out the world. If you make up some bullshit and you tell your children, you just fuck them. Because now what stopped you from seeing the world as it is also going to stop them. And until they overcome that belief system, they will never figure out the world. That's what colonization is. African people would never figure out the world as long as the ideas within religion and politics that came through colonization still control our day-to-day life. Ideas that were never formed and developed with our best interests in mind. Compare the African people perhaps to black people in general, perhaps to people like the Iranian people. Iranian people, they come from a history of warriors. They are skilled in the art of war. They've had an uninterrupted civilization for thousands of years. They are grounded in an identity that is not controlled by their enemies. So what happens when they engage in a war where physically they don't necessarily have the means to completely defeat their enemy? They will not cower. The mission is straight and clear. They will fight to their last breath. Say what you want to say about them. But in terms of their own self-preservation and them understanding their place in the world, they would rather live free. They would rather die free than live as slaves. Which pretty much, when we look at the way the world is right now, financially, the black man is still the slave to systems that were not created for his best interest. Medicine, the same thing. Science, the same thing. Technology, same thing. We've come to believe that to be a scientist, you gotta go to an Ivy League university. Those who build those Ivy League universities, what Ivy League universities did they go to when they started building those universities? There's a way to be curious about the world, and there's a way to take one thing at a time and break it down, and to do it systematically with like-minded people. That even without being exposed to what somebody else has discovered, you can still come to the same discovery. But in your own image, in your own way, in a way that has your best interest at heart. And somehow we have to accomplish this as human beings without seeing each other as enemies. Religion is not helping, right? As long as Christians are Christians and Muslims, guess what? They're going to fight. Let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Out of 8 billion human beings, how many of them do you think believe in God?
Maybe like 3 billion.
There's 2.1 billion Muslims in the world, about 2.3 billion Christians in the world, almost 600 million Hindus, add another 300 million Buddhists. You add in indigenous traditional religions and alternative forms of spirituality, you have maybe another 1 billion. So out of 8 billion, the atheist population of the world is probably not even up to 500 million. Would you say that there is evil in the world?
Yes, absolutely.
If the majority of the world are people who believe in God and there's evil in the world, at what point does the root cause of the problem become the system that has the majority of human beings marching around like sheep? Do you not realize that the biggest threat to God, to the idea of God, to Christianity, to Islam, is not the person who says that there is no God? It's the person who says that, well, there is a God, but not the one you say it is. That's why the religious person's biggest enemy has not been the atheist. It's been the other religious person fighting for who would control the narrative. Why are we so obsessed to fight? What's the real power in being the one that gets to tell everyone who God is?
Me personally, I don't think any of us are enemies. I don't think we should be enemies.
But we are. That's why we fight and kill each other.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So what's the root cause? The root cause. Think of a situation where Israel could not say that the land belongs to them because God promised it to them 3,000 years ago. Imagine a scenario where that's not true. How do you think they justify the need to grab the land of Gaza and Palestine? Take for the fact that there is no Allah and the Islamic Republic of Iran cannot make an appeal to Allah and dying as a martyr to be the driving way to unite. What is their excuse for their tyranny? What is their excuse? Remove God out of the equation, you start realizing that, oh, the fight is not a fight for justice, it's a fight for greed. That all those systems, the system that told them that God exists, the system that told them that God, right, promised them the land 3,000 years ago, the system that said that Allah is God and gave them Islam, all those systems were built on greed. That's why ultimately those who are within those systems and those who control those systems, their behavior will always be consistent with their greed. It's greed. And to be honest, we haven't waged war on greed. We've actually encouraged it. And as sad as it is for me to say this, had we not encouraged it, maybe we would not know as much about the world as we know today. Science would have been slow, but the world would have been more peaceful and people will understand each other more. But because we created systems that allow some people to be greedy people always want more. And when they want more, they're going to find a way to get it. And sometimes it involves building mines, building railroads, building corporations, building aircrafts, building businesses. It's all motivated by greed. See, greed is a character trait that developed in human beings due to scarcity over the years. Because resources were always scarce, and because of the unique constitution of human physiology, human beings kind of develop that bad behavior, and we literally teach it down to our children as morals. That's the big problem.
No,
what happens when you give greed to an intelligent being? Now, if this is true for humans, let's say that there's another intelligence out there. How do we know that they're immune from the same thing?
I don't know.
Nice. The God you believe in, is it the Christian God?
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
How long have you been a Christian?
Became a Christian when I was 16. I'm 21 now, so that's about. Hope my math isn't incorrect, but that's 5 years.
It's okay. It approximates.
Yeah, 5 years.
All right, we're not in court here. So you've been a Christian for approximately 5 years.
Yeah.
Perhaps more, perhaps less.
Yeah.
How much of the Bible have you read?
I pretty much read the entire New Testament and a lot of the Old Testament, but not the Old Testament completely.
Did you read it haphazardly, flipping from page 100 to page 2, from page 4 to page 98? Or did you read it in counting order, page by page, chapter by chapter, verse by verse, book by book, as written?
When it comes to New Testament, yeah. But the Old Testament, it's like very big. I just read like...
So in the New Testament, you started from Matthew chapter 1 and you ended in Revelation chapter 22.
Yeah.
What did you get from reading that book? Hold up. Let me ask you a question. When you read it, did you already believe that God exists and that the Bible was the word of God? Or did you come to the conclusion that the Bible was the word of God after reading? Which was it?
For me, at least, I believed in God before I read the Bible, but I would say that after I read the Bible, like not entirely, but after I read a lot of the Bible, I decided to be Christian.
So before you read the Bible, you were not a Christian?
Yeah, like there was one point in my life where I did still believe in the Creator.
Is this all within the 5 years that you say you've been a Christian?
I would say no. I would say I would say I still believed in a Creator. I was just more spiritual. I wasn't religious. I was like, oh, well.
No, you were not spiritual. You were confused and ignorant. That's not spirituality. Mixing your feelings with your ignorance is not spirituality. Spirituality, really, if you simplify it, is just being mental health and being disciplined about the task and purposes that you set to achieve. That's the essence of spirituality. Any spirituality that does not translate to being disciplined, sober-minded, and focus, and hardworking, smart working, any spirituality that doesn't lead to practical wisdom is bullshit. Any spirituality that ends with a feeling, right? So ultimately, if it comes down to how you feel, it's bullshit. That's why I say we should throw the word spirituality away and just start referring to it as mentality, mental health. So at that age, you were younger than 16. Yeah, clearly ignorant. Your brain wasn't even fully developed as a human being. It's only natural that back then you wouldn't know certain things and certain feelings would generate inside of you based on whatever fairy tales you heard or read. In your adulthood, have you read the Bible all over again?
Yeah. Ever since I was 18, I still continue to study the Bible. I don't study it as much.
Let me ask you a question.
At this point, but yeah.
Let me ask you an honest question. Is it possible that God could exist even if it's not the God of the Bible?
Yeah, it's possible.
How many gods do human beings say exist?
Well, I guess it depends on who you ask, right?
No, you just need to be a rational, honest, realistic human being, and you can look at the world and you can come to the correct answer. It's not complicated. How many gods do human beings as a whole throughout time up to this point claimed existed? How many gods?
Well, I guess there's been thousands or millions of belief systems. So I think.
Have you examined all those gods and all those belief systems?
No, I have not.
So how did you come to the definitive, absolute, sure conclusion that it's the one in the Christian Bible? Is it just because it's the most popular where you were born? Well,
I just said that this is the one that makes the most sense out of all the ones that I knew about. So
yeah, but whatever you would have known about is not even up to 0.0001% of everything you would need to know about in order to come to any definitive conclusion that this is the right one. So even if it took you your whole life, you might not even examine enough data to conclusively say that the Christian God is a true God, other than your feelings. Nothing but your feelings. It has absolutely nothing to do with how much of the Bible you read. It has to do everything with the fact that you actually read it with an unprepared mind, without any critical thinking. And it felt good. So you believed it without investigating all the other options. This is a reality that most religious people don't want to accept. Whereas a person like me, I'm just like, hold up. If I got to go through 10,000 books to determine which book is the correct book for the task for the answers I'm looking for, we don't have to read all those books, especially if I have no clue which one it is. I can't just pick the first book and then if I like what's in it better than the last 10 books I read, I conclude that it's it, when there's literally 9,000 more to read. I mean, the possibility that there could be something better than what I've read, truer than what I've read, practical than what I've read, is very high. I'll need to read at least 90% of those books before I can even be like, okay, I can scrap the rest. So even if it took you your whole life, you could never realistically, truthfully, boldly, and rightfully say that God exists and it be a matter of fact beyond your feelings. You couldn't. So now ask yourself the question, why is there a need for me to feel like God must exist? What am I afraid of if God doesn't exist? What wouldn't I be able to do if God exists, if God didn't exist? What will I be able to do? What will I need to do if God doesn't exist? You will need to become responsible for your own character and behavior, ultimately accepting 100% credit for the consequences of your own actions without a way out. All of a sudden, you can no longer ask God to forgive you from an act that clearly, realistically, naturally, forgiveness is not even a subject. If you cheated on your wife, no amount of forgiveness will change the consequences of it. And if you want to improve your life, you need to face those consequences with a sober, rational, critical thinking mind, not a spiritual one. Right? So, in essence, I'm not saying don't believe in God. I'm saying make sure you know what you're doing when you do. And be as honest with yourself as possible as you're doing it, so that you always give yourself the opportunity to learn the truth that is backed by facts and reality whenever you do encounter it. But in the meantime, as you go about like the rest of the world, trying to learn, trying to figure out, trying to contribute, you have what you feel like it is. It's just a feeling. It's your favorite feeling. It even affects how you think, how you treat your neighbor, how you see certain people. You may think you're doing a good job managing it, that it doesn't make you a bad person. That's fine. Those are your feelings. But when we step out of the realm of feelings and we come into the realm of facts and we want to solve real problems in the real world, make sure you don't walk into the room with those feelings or whatever the fuck those feelings told you. We figured that out a long time ago. That's why they say don't talk about religion or politics at work. Because at work, it's not about your feelings. It's about, hey, man, we got to make money. We got to pay bills. And every group among human beings that understand what I've told you right now, they rule the world. This is how the Jews think. The people we call the Jews, right? The ones that are responsible, that are the subject of all these conspiracy theories. They understand the practicality of the world. That's how the Americans think. That's why they built their empire. That's how the British, the Europeans, that's why they went and colonized the world. Everybody else is just crying victim. Shoot, the Chinese, they went through what Africans went through. They went through what black people went through. How did they manage to come back up so quickly? Because they understand a reality. There is no God. There's only us. If you don't do what is necessary to feed yourself, food is not going to fall down from the sky. Things do happen by chance in the world, but you cannot rely on chance, because chance doesn't necessarily bring consistency. And our survival necessitates consistency. That's why we're so attached to intelligence and things done intelligently, because it makes life predictable. It creates patterns that can be observed, learned. This is a level of deep thinking that requires a level of self-honesty that most religious people don't have. And I don't blame them. I don't blame you for believing in God. Why would I blame someone born in Saudi Arabia with a mosque around them and with Islamic propaganda everywhere to not be a Muslim? Why would I even call them a bad person? Nah, you were born into the system. Are you the type of person that creates systems, or are you the kind of person that navigates systems? Or are you a slave to the system?
Well, I don't have enough power to create the systems that's been existing for like hundreds of years at this point. So,
yeah, but think about it. What is the core of the system?
A lot of it.
An idea. At the core of all systems are ideas. You want to know what's amazing? You've been walking your whole life with a machine on top of your shoulders that has the ability to generate ideas. So if you wanted to create a system today, you have to conceptualize an idea around which you can build your system. So you have to come up with the idea first, and then seek out the resources to execute your idea. And in order for your idea to be possible, it has to be realistic. So if you conjure up a fictitious idea, you will find it impossible to make it a reality. But if your idea is practical and doable, though it might require time, though it might require money, it's still way more possible than a fictitious idea, right? That's why those who shine among us, right, are usually those that take on an idea and conquer the idea, create systems out of the idea. The American dollar is a system, but it's an idea. An idea that has been, it took hundreds of years for the Americans to develop. Now, anyone that's truly curious, but doesn't have the time to go and look at the history of the dollar, you will never understand what it is. For you, it's just going to be money, but it's something far more complex than that. Because it began with a simple idea. Cars, ideas, right? The need for roads, transportation, ideas. Even someone who's a Christian, but rather than be a member in somebody's church, you think to yourself, well, this is a big system. How do I make my own system within this big system? Well, rather than be a member, how about I start my own church? Ideas. Ideas. You know, every pastor is a Christian who figured that out. It's better to be the one calling the shots than to be the one following the shots. If you're going to be a Christian, at very least, let it benefit you to the maximum. And becoming a preacher is an easy way out. Well, I don't need to give you all that advice because there's a lot of scammers out there who have already figured out what I'm saying. That's why your religion of Christianity has many faces. Who's the face of Christianity? Don't say white Jesus, even though it is. But in our day-to-day lives, who's the face of Christianity? Is it the Baptists? Is it the Catholics? Is it the Presbyterian? Is it the Anglican Church? Who's the face of Islam? Is it Iran? Is it Saudi Arabia? No. All these little groups believe their own little different things, though they might be within the same system. The Jehovah's Witness, they didn't want to be regular Christian, so someone had an idea and created a system. And that systems always benefit someone. So if you want to know who controls the system, just follow the main structure of that system and see who it benefits the most. Who benefits the most from the American dollar? Is it the American government? Is it the American people? Is it a select few Americans in a certain category of wealth? Is it even Americans? Who benefits from the Catholic system? Is it the Pope? Is it the Cardinals? Is it Catholics? Who benefits from Islam? Who benefits from Hollywood? Now tell me, what system has black people created that will ensure that if something catastrophic was to happen to humanity and we couldn't all survive, that we would be the ones that survive? What system?
I guess, you know, having I don't really know that there's any system that exists from black people. I don't know.
Europeans have created a system where the whole world depends on English to communicate. In a world with thousands of languages, they somehow managed to create a system where their language dominates. They've attached political power to their language, economic power to their language, historical power to their language, and religious power to their language. The name of your God is in their language. The prayers to your God is in their language. Their interpretation of the world is in their language. Everybody has to learn their language to make it in the system they created. If all else was to fail humanity, who controls the system? Them. They have the ability to make sure they're the last one standing. The Muslim countries, for years, right, they fought the Crusades against the Western world, the Europeans. Why? Because the Muslims wanted to create this system, and they still dream of creating that system. It's called a caliphate, a caliphate, with one leader known as the Khalifa. It will be a Muslim empire where they can practice Sharia, which is that law that they have in Islam. Where there could be a mosque everywhere and the rules and the laws of Islam will govern that empire. That's the dream of those that rule the Muslim world. They want to create systems. What did the Chinese do? They want to create a technologically advanced system where state identity is higher than every other form of identity. So they pose a threat to every other system that is different. What systems did Africans create? We are literally operating on, just about politically, religiously, financially, we are operating all under European systems. There's no system that we black people operate under that we control. There's no system that we black people operate under that was designed for our best interests. And the only systems that exist that could do it for us, somebody managed to convince us that those systems are evil. Our traditional systems of government, how we organize our tribes, our philosophies on war, self-defense, our understanding and explanations of the world. Though we've been here for thousands of years, all of a sudden we didn't know that God existed until the Europeans had to come give us Jesus. That's why millions of us are obsessed with Jesus now, huh? And then the other half of the millions are obsessed with Allah. Because our ancestors were just dumbasses in this world. They didn't know how to think. We've bought into the identity they sold us. And this is not offense against them. This is about us. This is not about anybody else. And it doesn't even mean that it's bad for a black person to be Christian. But it's bad for the black world to be ruled and governed based on the principles of Christianity when Christianity wasn't designed with our best interests in mind. That's why those who control the system of Christianity, they gave you the image for Jesus. An image that you're walking down the street and you even take a glance at it, you already have that idea in your head immediately. There is nobody listening to me right now that if you walk down the street and you just saw a glance of that popular white Jesus picture, it doesn't even have to be the same white guy, that your mind will not automatically think Jesus. That's genius. To be honest, from a neutral perspective, even if I wasn't African, when I see what the Europeans did with how they took the idea of Christianity and made this empire out of it, for me, I just think it's genius. You cannot be a dumbass and build a system like that. My only problem is that, hold up, why do I gotta be the one to be the slave in the system? Oh, hell no. I want a system where I get to be free. And that's a common place that we can agree with different groups, not just blacks, Hispanics, Asians. Come to find out, even white people want systems where they are free. It just so happened that in the last couple of 100 years, they went down the path of creating a system where they are free, but everybody else is not. And that type of system has a problem. Because what happens when people are tired? They rebel. How do you know that people rebel? They rebel against the ideas that build the systems. That's why you see there's this revolution, right? People say there is no God. It's not just on God alone. It's a type of rebellion against the system that told you that the power of your own mind to independently look at the world and critically think of the world is inferior to the fairy tales that they preach to you. If there is a God, human beings have not met, imagined, or even come close. The only thing that's here right now is us. And we need to find a way to take care of ourselves while getting along with those around us. There is substance in the statement, there is no God. If you do want to engage on a journey of exploration, full of bliss, full of action, full of life, I dare you to cross the line that says there's no God and see the world reveal itself to you. It's a level of intellect that religious people cannot even begin to conjure up. Your brain doesn't have the ability to dissect that type of complexity without inserting your assumptions into it.
But I mean, if we're basing everything off practicality, You know, why would I even why would I even have to do any of that if I acknowledge that there's people who do believe in such thing as God and they're religious and they're like really successful? I could just be one of them.
Yeah, you could just be. In fact, you are. You're just another sheep on the farm. For me, I came to realize that, hold up, there is more of the world outside the farm and the barn than on the farm. I actually have the ability to survive out there. And all the scary monsters that the farm keeper told us exist, they are real. But I have the strength to overcome them, especially if I'm not alone. That my true strength doesn't come from what I believe of the world. It comes from what I can do in the world. In the world, when I'm working together with my fellow human beings, we can overcome almost anything that the world throws at us. We can survive almost anything. So guess what? A couple of buddies of mine, we're getting off this farm. We want to taste the grass that's beyond the horizon. We want to see what lays beyond it. Oh, come to find out, the big monsters that our masters was talking to us about are elephants and buffaloes and giraffes. Every once in a while you see a hyena. But if you track how the hyenas move, you can stay away from them. Every once in a while there's a lion. There are predators out there. But there are also creatures like me, surviving just fine. Without a farm, without a farmer. And they live on. So yeah, that little box where they told you that there is a God and that the God gave his word and you must follow that word in this specific way, that's a small farm and a big land. You look through the fence and you see the other farm on the other side that says Muslims. You look to your right, you see another farm that says Buddhist. You look up the mountain, you see another farm that says Hindus. And then the space between the farms, you just see these animals just walking around randomly, like no one tells them what to do. You say atheist. They don't believe in the farmer. They don't want to live on the farm. They are only atheists because they don't want to follow rules. No, it's not that they don't want to follow rules, it's that they make the rules they follow. They don't follow the rules that other people made for them. I make up my morality. My morality is not borrowed. Every other morality I ever learned, I used it as raw material to build my own moral structure. So in this world, even if I disappoint everybody, I must never disappoint myself. Even if I lie to everybody, I must never lie to myself. At the end of the day, I must make sure I can always depend on myself, because as dependable as other human beings might be, a time might come when they might have to choose between their life and my life. And I should never expect anyone to want to lay down their life for me. Even if there might be people who will. Some say that the world came about because some God made it. Some say it came about naturally. Some say it's spiritual, it's divine. Some say there is no God. That's just what people say. What I do know is we are here. We see no gods. We see no worlds being made. And the choices that make our lives the most difficult are the choices we make and the choices other human beings around us make. So where exactly should we put our focus? In what people say the world is and where it came from? Or in what we actually see the world to be, regardless of what we might not know? Learn to see the world as it is, brother. You see, you don't have to abandon your moral values just because you're not a Christian. It's not strange that moral values could be similar. For example, what you Christians call the 9 fruits of the Spirit, I just call it the positive virtues of human behavior. that produce positive results, that help human beings, master self-control, love, peace, joy, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness. These methods have proven to be efficient in building relationships across all human groups, cultures, and civilization. It's not because the Bible said it's the 9 fruits of the Spirit that all of a sudden being patient, being kind, being gentle is now these divine revelations. Fuck that shit. The Buddhists knew it. The Hindus knew it. The Native Americans knew it. Through their own experiences, they learned. They learned them in different ways.
Well, I've just been listening, and I gave you my best responses.
You did.
I do think I know it's gonna upset you, but if I'm a sheep,
I wasn't trying to persuade you. I did not expect you to suddenly change your belief system. But I think what this conversation might have done for you is that you might understand why a person like me says that there is no God from this unique perspective a little more than you did prior to coming up here. And after having this kind of conversation with me, perhaps there's a little more empathy when you see someone who says there's no God, right? You're not going to necessarily assume that I'm an evil person or it's completely from an irrational place. There's rationality. Your religion has taught you to just demonize and condemn everybody that has an opposite narrative to you. They've even given you like little buzzwords like Antichrist, unbeliever, Gentiles, condemned. That's all intentional.
I'm not gonna say somebody's evil just because they don't believe in God.
If you're not gonna say that someone is evil just because they believe in God, doesn't that mean that believing in God doesn't necessarily guarantee that someone is not gonna be evil?
That's also true. Just because someone believes in God, that doesn't mean they're not gonna be evil.
So believing in God has nothing to do with whether or not the person is evil.
Yeah, God. There
goes another department. We just figured out believing in God is absolutely useless. So those of you who are believing in God because you don't want to be evil, you're wasting your time. You're fucked like the rest of us. Okay, buddy? So if hellfire exists, we shall see you there. We shall be neighbors.
Yeah, well, I do appreciate the conversation. I'm going to head out now.
Thank you very much. You have a blessed day. Okay, brother?
You too, man.
Indeed. There is no God. There never has been and there never will be. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. I spoke a lot. Let me bring up some of these guests, okay? Let's see if we can go through this as quick as possible. Let's make this swift.
Yeah, man.
What's up, man?
What's up, bud? Long time no see. How you doing?
I'm doing all right.
You said one thing, brother. You're talking about morals. You talk about how your morals is what you think is right. So, but how do we know what's actually right and what's actually wrong? Because other people that have other morals, right? And they think it's right. But are they? Who are we to say who's right and who's wrong?
That's why the way human society is structured, we make laws and rules based on common morality. So you and I come together, we decide that we're going to be neighbors. So we kind of have this understanding, this code of conduct. Hey man, this is my property, this is your property. Hey man, don't let your dog poop on my lawn and I won't let my dog. We combine what we have in common and we make it the rule. Yeah. And the things we don't have in common, we kind of like negotiate on it. But once it's the rule, we create a system to enforce those rules, right? Now, what's right is not necessarily what somebody else might say.
Different things, though, brother.
No, hold up. What's right is whatever gives you the desired intent, the results consistent with the desired intent. That's what right means, right? So if I'm doing something and somebody else thinks it's wrong, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong for me. Now, I can do something that I think is right, and it brings about consequences that I'm satisfied with, but from somebody else's perspective, what I did was wrong because they would not have intended the consequences that I just brought about. So they have two choices. They can ignore it or they can do something about it. And if they try to face me, I can resist. That's kind of like how nations are built, right? It starts with one individual, but eventually it's the whole
you're talking
world.
about human law. You're talking about human laws, bro. You're talking about laws. There's laws out there that are immoral. So
No. The laws that we make ultimately is what determines if something is moral and immoral collectively. Individually, you get to determine what you think is moral or immoral to you, but you need to face the reality. Everyone needs to face the reality that some things you're going to do that you think is right might be right for you, but it's not going to be right for everybody else. And everybody else has the ability to do something about it.
Morally, is it right or is it wrong? You're talking about laws.
It would depend. It would depend from which system, from what perspective you're talking about it, right? For example, let's say hurting little children. Is it right or is it wrong? I haven't seen too many systems where hurting little children is right, except the most recent example where hurting little children was right is when Israel bombed Palestine. They thought it was right.
But in the past, though, there was like sacrifices. People sacrificing their
Why do we need to talk about the past? We need to talk about the present.
No, because
Listen.
it has to do with morality.
Yeah. I'm trying to show you how morality works, right? Do you think it was right for Israel to bomb Palestine and to unalive all those more than 25,000 children?
I don't think anyone should be like done with. I can't talk on TikTok. I don't want you to get striked. You know what I mean?
No. We can talk about it in a reasonable way because I don't think Israel thought it was wrong.
No, sorry. Let me rephrase myself. I don't mean not
they
talking
wouldn't
about
have done it. The point is they wouldn't have done it if they thought it was wrong. And you can't tell them that it was wrong if you're not willing to do something about it. You can say it was wrong. That's just your opinion.
That's what I said. I think any type of massacre like that is wrong. But that's not the point. What I'm trying to say is, you're talking about, you said your morality, right? And you're basing your morality on laws.
No, I'm basing my morality on my experiences and a way of making decisions that ensure my survival and that brings about results that work in my best interest. That's how my morality works.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to. Okay, yeah, your morality, but does it make it right? For you, it might make it right, but morally, is it right? That's the difference. That's what I'm trying to say. Morality,
morally, there is no universal standard of morality.
Brother, morality is there's absolute truth.
There is no universal standard of morality.
Brother, let me speak. I know. You say there is no God. That's what you say, right? I say there is a God. Okay? So who's right and who's wrong? We don't know.
No. We do know. We do know. It's very easy. You say there is a God. I say there is no God. All we have to do is just look where we are claiming that there is a God or there is not a God at, right? If I said there is no God, where am I saying that there is no God? I said in the real world, there is no God. You're saying that there is a God. Where are you saying that there is a God? In the real world, there is a God. So all we got to do is observe the real world. If we see a God there, then you're right. If we don't see a God, then I'm right.
There's a lot of evidence for God, bro. There's a lot.
There's a lot of evidence.
Either you want to take it as evidence or not.
No. There's a lot of evidence for something, but not God.
What do you mean not God? Of course
the only evidence we have for God is that human beings made it up in the moments of ignorance, and the more human beings became not ignorant, the more they learned that those conclusions they came to in their times of ignorance were false.
How is it ignorant when 500 people witnessed Jesus rising?
No, it's ignorant to think that 500 people witnessed something that was written by one person, and you don't have access to the 500 witnesses.
Written by one person.
Anybody can claim. Who wrote that 500 witness?
Yeah, but
Jesus Christ.
What I'm trying to say, but it wasn't written. The Bible wasn't written by one person.
No. Was it the 500 witnesses that wrote in the Bible that they witnessed Jesus, or was it someone that wrote in the Bible that 500 people witnessed Jesus? Because that person who wrote that could lie. And if you don't have any other independent way to verify if 500 people truly did, then you can't necessarily say that's true.
I know, brother. But brother, Jesus did exist, and Jesus was on this earth.
It's impossible that Jesus could have existed because the letter J did not exist 2,000 years ago.
Bro,
so whoever
I speak Neo-Aramaic.
No. Listen. Nobody today speaks Aramaic as it would have been spoken 2,000 years ago.
I speak Neo-Aramaic, bro.
Do you know why you call it Neo-Aramaic? Because it's not Aramaic.
It's modern day Aramaic.
Yeah, modern day Aramaic is not ancient Aramaic. Two different languages.
Of course not. Same with English of today and the English of 600 years ago. Same thing.
English, no. But the English of today and the English of 600 years ago has a continuous line of development and change that you can see it in its roots. Those Aramaic and Hebrew languages, those languages completely disappeared, especially scholarly.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong.
Yes, I'm correct.
I speak Neo-Aramaic, bro. It's Neo-Aramaic.
Where did it come from? Where did Neo-Aramaic come from?
I'm Assyrian, bro. I'm ancient.
Where did it come from?
I'm Assyrian.
Where did that language come from?
It's Semitic. It's from the Middle East. Assyrian books.
Bro.
Aramaic. What do you mean, bro?
Again, I'm saying to you that these are modern languages that were built and have their root in Europeanism much more than Semitic culture, bro.
No, bro, you're totally wrong. Assyrians were.
And first of all, let me show you how I'm not wrong.
Let me finish my statement. Hold up. I'm explaining to you why you're wrong.
No, hold up.
Hold on, let me finish my statement. I'm Assyrian, brother. Let me finish my statement, bro. I'm Assyrian. Assyrians were one of the first Christians in the world. That's one thing. The second thing, respread Christianity all throughout China and all throughout India. Do you know how? By the book. And you can even do your research on it, bro.
Brother, this is what I'm trying to say to you. And I don't mean this in a negative way. I just mean this in a historical way, okay? That's Caucasian culture, bro. You're Caucasian.
I'm Semitic. I'm Semitic.
No.
I'm from the Middle East.
So you're not Caucasian?
I'm from the Middle East, brother. I'm Assyrian.
Yeah. Hold on. Relax. But the Caucasus Mountains are located in the Middle East.
Okay, so what is that? Am I Caucasian? Yeah. But when you say white, you're talking about European.
No. I'm trying to explain. Hold on. Let me explain something to you. What I'm trying to say to you that all Semitic culture were Negroes. In actual historical context, Semitic culture is a Negro culture, bro. You guys are Dravidians, right? You come from the East. Your culture is... Okay, I will not say a lot of ancient cultures have many similarities, but as far as this Hebrew, Aramaic, it is not the original language of your people. The Assyrians were a complete different civilization from the Hebrews.
Yeah.
In fact, Hebrew, if you study the word Hebrew simply meant cattle keeper, right? These groups, in ancient times, resources like water weren't always available. So massive groups of people used to be wandering shepherds, and they would wander from land to land, following greener pastures with their cattle. And they were, in those days, you know, city-states already existed. And those who built city-states always looked down on groups that would usually migrate from place to place, keeping cattle. And guess what? Those groups, were Semitic. Right around the Nile Valley and the Mesopotamia and the Arabian Peninsula. But those people, like I said, were Negro. The indigenous demographic of that land were originally Negro.
I got a question for you.
They were not Caucasian.
I got a question for you, brother. I got a question for you. So if you get a black North American person, like a African American, and you take his DNA blood test, where would that region show?
It might show majority African, and maybe a small amount of Native American, a small amount of European.
I've done my DNA test, and the vast majority is from Iraq.
Yeah, that's true, because that land was conquered by Caucasians, people a long time ago. Listen, everywhere that you see Caucasian people except Europe today used to be... Hold on, let me finish. It used to be like North America, okay? Europeans, they have had this hunger for exploration. It didn't start like with the transatlantic slavery or with the exploration of the world during the Reformation. No, this has always been people that have always traveled and traded and migrated, you know?
Yeah, okay,
and
I agree.
They conquered many lands throughout time. Even Egypt, right? Even Egypt, we learn of the stories of Cleopatra. Those were Greeks. They conquered Egypt. In those days, Egypt was Negro. You know, in fact, your Bible says that when Jesus was born, his parents took him and ran into Egypt. How were they able to blend in Egypt, the land of the blacks? How would they blend in
What do
there?
you mean they're black, bro? This is what I'm trying to say. Europe, listen, Assyrians have been there way before Europe.
What I'm saying to you is that before the first Assyrian kingdoms were built, African people already had kingdoms that were mighty and unbelievable. Okay, let me tell you something about my people. No. Listen, relax, bro. Listen, this is the discrepancy.
I'm relaxed.
No. Let me be honest with you about a certain truth, right? It's not your fault. It's not my fault either. It's nobody's fault. It's just a system, right? Much of what the Western world knows about the rest of the world is what the Western world thinks of what they find out about the rest of the world. Most of the rest of the world never gets to tell their own story. All right? Our African tribes, we were not primitive. We were learned people with complex language and complex systems that till today, when we interact with you, Westerners, we have to learn your culture to get along with you because you guys don't have the ability to learn ours. And of course, you guys, you might not even have a reason to, since you kind of control, you know, systems and you have power. Of course, you're not weak people. You're very capable people. No, that's a beautiful thing about humanity. But when we get beef, you know, one group's always dominate another. But as a typical African person, I can speak more European languages than I know a European that can speak my language. The blessing for me is that our languages didn't disappear. Our traditions didn't disappear. And within those traditions, we have our history. And our history our history doesn't always match what you say that we were. For example, if you go to West Africa right now, okay, those countries around West Africa, and you ask them where they were 2,000 years ago, most of them will tell you that they lived around the Mediterranean, and some tribes will tell you that they even lived in Palestine. It is a continuous line of oral tradition. Okay. So the Somalis of today, when they tell you who they are, they tell you that they are the original Arabs. They are the Arabs. The black Somalis. They don't even claim African heritage. Many of them don't, right? But guess what? It wasn't just the Arabian Peninsula. It was all the way up into Lebanon, Turkey. But our people were eventually pushed out because the Europeans became imperial. The West, what is it?
No, bro. You're wrong. You're wrong. I'll tell you why. My DNA proves it, bro. It shows Middle East. It doesn't show Europe, bro.
Listen. Okay. What do European and Middle Easterns have in common?
We're human.
Of course, we're all beautifully human, regardless of where you're from. That's the amazing thing. We will never question each other's humanity. We're just talking about
100%.
race.
And
we're just talking about race. We're not talking about our humanity.
That, brother. Don't get it twisted. Christianity says we're all brothers and sisters, bro.
That's a lie.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Christianity says that anyone who has not believed in your God is condemned.
Assyrians spread Christianity by, just Google it. Do Chinese go Assyrian church in the East and China? You'll see, brother.
Mike, Christianity says that if I don't believe in your God, I am condemned to perish forever, and that I am not your brother.
I didn't say that. I said we're all brothers and sisters, brother. You went to a different topic.
Hold up. Not according to your religion.
I know, but you went to a different topic. I said we're all brothers. You said humanity is the beautiful thing.
You said that. You said because of Christianity we are all brothers and sisters,
bro.
You said Christianity says that we are all brothers and sisters. You claim that Christianity says we're all brothers and sisters, but that's not true. The overall message of Christianity seems to imply that only those who have been chosen by God and those who have their names written in the Lamb's book of life before the foundations of the earth are the true sons and daughters of God. Everybody else going to burn in hellfire. So don't sing us that song. If we're not part of your religion inherently says...
Brother, you went to a different topic. I said we're all brothers and sisters. And you said, yes, in humanity, it's a beautiful thing.
Yes, we're all brothers and sisters,
and that's
not
what
because...
Christianity's about. We're all brothers and sisters.
No.
On the humanity level.
We have this understanding that we are brothers and sisters. I agree with you on that, but we did not come to that conclusion because of Christianity. In fact, if we involve Christianity, Christianity is going to separate us because it's going to separate us as believers and unbelievers. And the way Christianity is structured, your fellow believer is the standard by which you determine your true brother and your true sister, right? Ultimately, meaning that within the Christian system, all human beings are not brothers and sisters. Some are the sons and daughters of the devil,
wrong,
and
bro.
some are the
You're
sons
wrong,
and daughters
brother.
of your God.
You're wrong. And that's what it says. We're all children of God, and we're all brothers and sisters. We breathe the same air. We breathe the same
If we are all brothers and sisters, why does your God send some of us to hellfire?
That's a different topic.
No, it's not a different topic. It is a topic that consistently...
If you don't listen to your parents and they discipline you, what do you do then?
If I don't listen to my parents, they're not going to burn me forever. If I don't listen to my parents, they're not going to burn me forever.
Yeah, but he gave you that choice, and you don't want to follow
it. No matter how many choices my parents give me, the solution will never be to burn me forever.
But we're going to a different topic.
No, it's not. It's the same
God's discipline.
It's the same topic.
No, you're going to God's discipline.
My parents, no parent will ever conclude that... Listen, no almighty parent with almighty power to the power to create the whole universe would ever conclude that burning their children forever is a solution to a problem that they have the power to fix without having to burn their children forever. You realize that?
Say that again.
Your God has the power.
Sorry, brother.
Your God has the power to solve the problem without burning anybody forever.
No, I didn't hear what you said, brother. Sorry, what did you say there? The last little part.
Your God has the power to save everyone from hell, no matter what the excuse is. The fact that he doesn't and actually does send some people to hell based on what your religion says proves that we cannot all be his children, because no father would ever send their child to burn forever when they have the power to save their child, no matter what choices their child makes.
Do you think some people deserve hell?
No, nobody deserves hell. Listen to me. If I was almighty and I had the power of your Christian God, nobody will go to hell, because I will have the power to save anyone, no matter what. No matter free will, no matter what anyone does,
he does.
I will have the power.
You do have a chance, but you have to believe in him, though, bro.
No, whether or not I save them will have nothing to do with them. It will be my choice, and my choice will simply be I will never create hellfire to begin with. I'll find a different way to solve the problem.
So what about PDF files? What about PDF files?
Guess what? I am God. I am almighty. I can reform them. I can give them a new heart, even if they don't want to.
That's what God does. That's what I'm trying to say.
Listen. No, there is no if. You don't have to choose me. If I was God, you wouldn't have to choose me, because you didn't have to ask me to create you. So if I made you...
No, because that means no free will.
Yeah, there doesn't have to be... First of all, nobody has free will.
Yeah, they do. We do.
Listen to me. For you to have free will, God will have to not exist. As long as God exists, God's will will be the ultimate, absolute will. So your will is limited by God's will. So your will was never free. You have a limited will.
We need to be.
You have a limited will. As a believer in God, your will could never be free, because you believe, let God's will be done, not your will, right?
That's right.
Okay, good. If you live your life based on God's will, what the fuck is the point of your free will? You don't have free will.
You do. You choose if you want to do it or not.
Even the decision to choose, whose will was it that made that?
He's the father, brother.
The ability to choose, whose will was it? Whose will gave you the ability to choose?
Say that again, brother?
Whose will gave you the ability to choose?
His.
Okay, that means that ultimately your will is an illusion and his will is final, because even your will is a product of his will.
Yeah, we have to follow his will.
If you were free, you don't have to follow anything.
No, of course
you only have to because you have no choice.
Okay, then there is no morality then. That's
why I said to you that there is no universal standard of morality. There is no universal standard of morality. We get to self-determine. And then when one or two of us come together, we can agree morally on the things we have in common. And then we use that agreement to make laws. That's how human society works. That's why you can go in China and you see some similar laws. And then you see other laws that are different from America.
Listen, brother, there's laws that are immoral. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Every law is immoral to somebody somewhere.
Every
law-
law is immoral
listen.
for somebody somewhere.
No matter which law you can find in this world, there's going to be someone somewhere that from their own perspective, that's immoral. Even think of the best law you can think of. There is somebody somewhere with a brain that thinks that, oh, you shouldn't do that. Okay? Because if there was a universal standard of morality, oh no, humanity will not be the way it is right now. Are you kidding? The world will be a far better place. Our biggest struggle is not even anybody's fault. It's nobody's fault that we have different minds and we have different things that we like. So we have to navigate that complexity, even to just build a city, right? For 10,000 people to live together without fucking each other up, it takes a lot of working together. It takes a lot of compromise of personal moral desires.
No,
right?
But brother, morality is not human. Morals didn't come from us, because you're talking about law. You're mixing it all up into one thing. Like, morals and laws are two different things. What's right and what's wrong? There's an absolute truth, and there's
Listen to me.
Truth, brother. That's what I say.
Morals are the building blocks that we utilize to make laws. The law is the house, and the morals are the bricks you use to build the house. But the thing here is that if it takes
because morals, listen, brother, morals is what's right and wrong. Laws are laws. It's governed. That's a governing.
Morals is what is right and wrong to a specific group of people. It's not just loose. You need, as long as you have a person, there is a sense of right and wrong to that person. And if you have more than one person, there is two senses of right and wrong. In order for those two people to work together, they have to find a compromise. And that compromise is going to be based on what they have individually.
There's tribes today that they say the warrior spirit has to go into the child, by the child going with the chief or the chief, and he has to, do things with them and swallow it to get that spirit in him. So is that right? Obviously it's not right, bro. Because morals and laws are two different things.
Brother, you are strangely confused. And I do not think that you understand this subject as in depth, because you are beginning your thinking from a fictitious religious perspective. Okay? If you want to understand morality, stop listening to all those philosophical bullshit about it. Look at it in practice, right? So a person's, in fact, a person's morality, how do you know what a person's morality is? Let me ask you that question. How do you know what a person's morality is?
What do you mean, how do I know what a person's morality is? Because some people,
for example, if I met you, right? If I met you and I wanted to know your morality, your moral values, how will I find it out? By what you say or by what you do?
By knowing me.
No. But would I find it out by knowing what you say or knowing what you do?
Yeah, by knowing me. That's how you know my morals.
No. How would I make the determination? Specifically by knowing what you say to me, your moral values are, or by comparing what you say to what you do? Which one is it?
Both.
There is no both. It's one thing. So I take what you hear and I use it as a standard to judge what you do. If what you say is consistent with what you do, then what you do is your true morality. Because hold on. Listen carefully. You cannot miss this. You cannot miss what I'm about to say. I take what you say your moral values are. I use it as a standard to judge what you actually do. If what you actually do is consistent with what you say your moral values are, then all those actions are actually revealing to me your true morality. But if your actions contradict your words, then your actions will still tell me what your true morality is. So if you tell me that you have a moral value that stealing is bad, but then I catch you stealing, that means your true morality is that stealing is good. That's how you find out a person's morality. By their actions, not by their words.
What about lying?
Okay, bro?
What about lying?
You will know a person is lying when what that person says is when you observe the world, you don't find the world to be consistent with what that person has said, then that person is lying.
I know, but you said
so. For example, right? If I show you this bottle, and I say to you, "Hey, bro, there's no water in this bottle," and then you observe the bottle and you see water, that's how you know I'm lying. Because when you observe the world, it wasn't consistent with what I said. So when I said there is no God,
no.
World.
Okay, say for instance, I don't know, you stole someone's bag, or I stole someone's bag. I won't use me. I stole someone's bag, and like your bag, okay? And then you'd be like, "Did you steal my bag?" And I'll be like, "No, I didn't take it." And then you didn't find your bag. Is that like I'm telling you? That's speak. That's what I'm saying. It's both.
That makes you listen. That makes your morality the morality of a thief and a liar. So if you told me that you were an honest person, I can definitely see through your actions that you are actually a liar and a thief. So I get to make a choice. I can accept you as you are, or I could separate myself from you.
I know, but okay? I'm not talking about accepting. You're talking about words, the two ways of morality. You're talking about actions and words. And I said it's both.
What is the point of morality?
What's the point of morality? What do you mean? What
is to determine
there's no morality
of conduct.
It'd be chaos in this world.
No, listen. Morality has everything to do with our conduct. If we didn't have a need to behave ourselves in a certain way, morality would be absolutely useless. But the way our brains work and interact with our body, we need a framework of what we think we should do or what we shouldn't do. And it's kind of self-determined. Sometimes it is influenced by the environment. In fact, most of the time it is influenced by the environment. But it is predominantly or preeminently individualistic, right? I get up in the morning and I think the right thing to do is go to work.
Yeah.
If I choose not to go to work, that might be the right thing to do, or it might not be the right thing to do based on what happens because I didn't go to work. You see what I'm saying? But to somebody else who's not in my life, that's completely irrelevant. Guess what though? There's no need to determine if going to work is the right choice or going to work is not the right choice if I don't have a job. So my moral values here is to facilitate my survival, is to facilitate whatever I would need by getting a job, whatever I could only get by getting a job. So if you say you're a good person, but there's no need in your life for you to be a good person, and then you never behave like a good person, you're not a good person. You see what I'm saying? So it's our daily struggle as human beings. We all have this struggle, regardless of what we believe, to do the things we say we would do, to behave the way we say we are. And we fail a lot, right?
I know,
we fail a lot.
Brother, what I'm trying to say is, like, you're getting me I'm getting confused because you're going in circles, bro. Well, I'm trying to stay on one topic, and then you're going to it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's very confusing. Let's go back to you said your actions is what defines your morality.
Yes.
I said it's both.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Okay, what makes the car move?
What makes the car move? The human.
Yeah. But is it not the road that makes the car move?
What do you mean? How would it be the road?
Well, can the car move without a road?
The car move because if there's no human, the car wouldn't move.
Well, if there's no ground for the road to be there, would the car move?
Well, of course, it'd be flying.
But cars don't fly.
You'd be dropping, or what? But it's a road. What are you talking about? It's the human.
No. Listen.
It's not the road.
I'm trying to show you how a thing's specific behavior can be the thing itself, even if there are other elements involved with how that thing does what it does, right? Morality, like I said to you, is not what people say. What people say is communicating what they do or what they will do. Right? So when I communicate to you that I am a good person, I'm saying to you that in a specific situation, I will behave this way. So if you get a chance to observe my behavior, you will then know if what I said was true. And if what I said is consistent with what I do, then what I do in that moment is communicating to you visually, observationally, what my moral values really are. So if I say that I don't steal, but you observe me robbing a bank, that means I'm a thief.
Is talking trash morally right or wrong?
Talking trash is a behavior, right?
Yeah, but it's a morally right. I'm not talking about what I know. It's a behavior. It's an action. I understand that. I'm not talking about that.
It depends. It depends. It's not always wrong. It can be wrong, but it's not always wrong. From my perspective, at least, and I don't know if anybody else, if I'm talking trash to someone because as friends, we have this understanding that we can trash talk each other, then what's wrong about that? Now, if I'm talking trash to you because you came and you started talking trash to me when I was minding my business, then I talk trash back. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, we're both wrong. I don't disagree with that.
What makes me wrong for doing unto you as you've done unto me? If you slap me and I slap you, why am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. It's you're self-defense.
Okay, so if you trash talk me and I trash talk you, I'm not wrong.
It is to a point. It is, but it's not. The person that did the first slap is more wrong at the beginning, anyways. But that's what I'm trying to say.
There's no more
morals.
Morals. That's wrong.
It's not just actions, bro. It's words and it's actions. It's both.
Listen to me. Can you know the moral values of a mute?
That's through his actions.
Okay. Can a mute lie to you with their words?
Okay. In that instance,
answer my question. Can a mute lie to you with their words?
Can a quadriplegic lie to?
Brother. Can a mute?
You're going to. It's the same thing.
Can a mute lie to you with their words?
No.
Okay. Well, yeah, can a person that is not a mute?
Words, though.
Hold up, brother. Hold up. Can a person who is not mute lie to you with their words?
No, because they're mute.
Okay, good. Can a person who is not mute lie to you with their actions when they didn't know that you were observing?
Yeah, but I know, bro. Can a quadriplegic, what's that? What do you say? Like do actions against you? That's wrong.
No.
So can he lie?
He's disabled. He doesn't have the ability
quadriplegic. He can't move. He can talk.
Yes, he can lie.
So is that wrong?
I'll have to judge his actions.
Lying is wrong, bro.
So listen, if he tells me something, I will look at the world as it pertains to what he's told me and compare it with how he told me it should be. If it's inconsistent, that means he's a liar.
If that quadriplegic started talking bad about your mom, is that wrong?
No, for me, I will not consider that wrong because I'll just see it as a product of his disability. He doesn't know what he's doing.
No, brother, come on, man. Words are words. If someone's talking bad about any family member or anything like that, it's wrong. If someone's degrading you, it's wrong.
Being disabled might have fucked his mental health.
I know, but you're talking about mute. I'm trying to show you that it's both. It's words and actions. It's both.
Listen to me.
Actions speak louder than words, right?
Listen to me. Yes, action speaks louder than words.
Yeah, I know.
Hold up.
Okay.
What I'm saying to you is that words speak, but actions reveal the world as it is. Okay? Words can speak of things that are and things that are not equally, but actions reveal things as they are.
At the end of the day, brother, morality does not come from humans. It comes from God. What's right and what's wrong. And there's absolute truth, brother, no matter what anyone says, because you believe that you're right and I believe I'm right. But who's right? And there's absolute truth to our conversation. There is.
Whoever is right is whoever is not lying.
What do you mean? No, it's that, no. I'm talking.
Listen to me.
I'm talking about absolute truth, brother.
Again, you cannot talk about absolute truth if you are not absolute. Are you absolute?
Absolute in what way?
In whatever way you think. In whatever way you think truth is absolute. Are you absolute? In the same way the truth is absolute.
Yes, I'm absolute human.
Okay, good. Is a human being an absolute being?
Yes.
What is that?
He's a being. He's a human. He's alive. He's absolute.
Yeah, but life is not absolute because humans die. So a human being is not an absolute.
Yeah, but you're talking about in the future.
No, it's not. I'm not. I'm no. I'm not talking about no future. I'm talking about human beings in general, without past, present, or future. Just in general.
Yeah. But is he an absolute human while he's alive?
Listen, in order for you to be an absolute being, you must exist in an absolute state that does not change. You must exist with absolute time, and you must have absolute power. That's called an omni-property, right? That's how you guys have described your God, an ever-present, all-powerful, all-knowing being. That's what it means to be absolute. Only an absolute being can say that something is absolutely absolute. Now, we conceptualize the idea of absolute, but it is practically an impossibility.
I know, but you asked me, are you absolute? And I said, yes, I'm absolutely human.
But you're not absolutely human.
Of course I am.
Are you less than human or more than human?
What do you mean? If I was less than human, I'd be an animal, and if I was more than human, I'd be an alien, like or like a god.
But a human is an animal.
Humans are not the same as animals, brother.
Listen to me. A human is an animal. Do you understand that? That's not a subject of argument.
That, but I don't agree with you. Because we're human. They're two different. Okay, fine. Animal.
Brother, we are human. We're just a type of animal. So a human being is not animals. Listen. A human being is not absolutely human, because a human being is also an animal. In fact, a human being is an animal before it's human.
Now, come on, bro. What are you talking about, bro? We're absolutely human. Are you human?
A human being.
Are you human?
A human being is far more of an animal.
I'm asking you are you human?
I am human.
Okay. So then that's an absolute. We are human.
You want to know what human means?
What do you mean, do I want to know what human means?
A human simply means an animal that works on two legs. A mammal, specifically a mammal that moves on two legs.
Yeah, but you're talking about the category of what we are and how we give birth.
That walks upright. Humans simply means upright.
We give birth. Mammals give birth in this sense.
Regardless of how we give birth, we are far more animals than we are human.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that there's absolute truth, 100%. You
cannot say there is absolute truth, 100%.
You asked me if there's anything absolute. I told you I'm absolute human.
So hold up. Let me show you. Hold up. Let me prove to you that you can't say what you just said right now. What does the word absolute mean?
What do you mean? What does the word absolute mean? It means like I can't define it exactly. I don't know the definition.
Do you know why you cannot define it exactly?
What do you mean? I don't know why I can define it.
I can tell you why you cannot define the word absolute directly or exactly. Because the word absolute is not absolutely defined. Just like everything else, it's only standardly defined. So there's a standard definition for it, but that standard definition is not absolute. You could always redefine it in different contexts, because nothing is really absolute in the human world. Everything is subject to change.
Oh, 100% it is, bro.
Right,
things
and
do
that's
change.
subject to change.
Yeah, but bro, there's absolute truth to everything in this universe.
Bro, if there was absolute truth, nothing would change.
No, what are you talking about?
Change means that no state of being is absolute. That's what change implies. Change implies that no state of being is absolute. No state of truth is absolute. No state of anything is absolute. That's what change means.
No, you're wrong. You're not right, brother. You're not right. You're wrong. There's absolute truth to everything in this universe. And that's all there is to say. It's fact.
How can you say there is something that you can't define? Okay, tell me, what do you think absolute is, in your own words? Tell me the best that you understand. What is absolute?
In my own words, I don't know, like it's 100% to be true.
What is truth?
What do you mean? What is that? Dictionary time? Come on, bro. You know what truth means. I don't know how to define it exactly. You know what it means, bro.
Okay, let me tell you something. Absolute is when something has been understood to be exactly what it is, has always been what it is what it is, and will always be what will always be itself. It never changes from what
Yeah, but
it
that's
is
what you
in any
believe.
way, shape, or form.
And that's what you
listen to me.
We've
Listen
always
to me.
been human. I know what you believe. You say
Brother,
we've always been human, and nothing has. It's been there forever. Human. We've been
we
human
haven't always
forever.
been human.
That's what you say.
You and I don't begin as humans. We begin as single cell organisms, sperm and egg, bro.
That's two cells.
That's why every time you jack off and
two
you're not on the ground,
That's two cells.
That's human beings.
That's two cells, though. It's not one cell.
that is how humans begin. We already know that.
Yeah,
that's why it's called reproduction, right? What is being produced? A human being is being produced.
You believe that humans haven't changed. You believe that humans been there forever.
No, I said to you that human beings are not absolute because human beings do change.
I know, but you've said that I know humans change. I agree. I don't disagree. But you've said that, and I've talked to you in the past before, and you know what I mean? And your statement was that you believe that humans have been there forever. Nothing has, since the beginning.
Listen, life as we see it, we've broken down life to the cell. The cell is the smallest unit of life that we understand, and even human life can be broken down to the cellular level. So when we talk of human beings in that context, we're talking about the idea of life, right? As far as we can see, life has always been there. We cannot pinpoint a specific beginning, neither can we replicate it. We approximate, theorize a bunch of things. In fact, the further back you go into history, the more the likelihood that we are wrong of what we think of it. Just like people in the past, the further into the future you try to think, the more they are wrong, right? Let me give you an example. You know that the people in the Bible made that shit up, bro. And you know that it was no divine revelation because when they tried to depict human beings flying in the air, they used flying horses. They couldn't have conceptualized aircrafts or spacecraft or instruments of transportation that move through the air. And yet, in their day and time, the primary form of transportation was horses. So in their head, when they wrote their stories and wrote their divine revelations and their predictions of the future, they imagined that in the future, horses would have wings. That's why they invented flying horses. In the Christian Bible, when Jesus comes back, he comes back on a flying horse, like Pegasus from Greek mythology. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Meanwhile, we live in a world where if you're talking of the prince of the power of the air, that is the white man. The white man is the prince of the power of the air. You know, United States of America, greatest air force in the world. You know, in aviation, no one can compare to the Europeans or to the Americans, right? Guess what? Moses or John the Revelator, he couldn't have seen any of that. John the Revelator wrote that in the end times, the Euphrates River was going to dry up and the kings of the east were going to cross in order to attack Israel. But John the Revelator didn't know that in 2025 or 2026, human beings have airplanes. And we don't transport soldiers because rivers dried up. If China or anybody wanted to attack Israel, crossing a river is never going to be a problem, so much that you need the river to dry up.
Okay.
You can see the limitations of their stories by the reality that they lived in. So the fact that we have airplanes today debunks every future prediction of the Bible that does not mention airplanes when it's talking about flight.
It doesn't debunk anything, but you're talking about made up stuff. The Bible is not made up, brother. So I don't know what to say, bro. You know what?
Listen, bro. The Bible is ancient fiction, okay? We are not the only ones that entertain ourselves with story like in Hollywood. The idea of Hollywood has always been around. But let me tell you something. The further back you go into the past, the more of a luxury it was for you to be entertained by a story written in a book, right? No. Imagine when the movie theaters first opened or became a thing, that only probably the rich people could afford it. Anytime something new comes in the human world, only the elite get to enjoy it. So for a very long time, the elite were the only ones that were literate, that could read, that could write. And among the elite, they would write stories to entertain themselves. And they'll use those stories for their political agendas.
So the apostles were elite?
None of those apostles existed. There was no Paul, there was no Peter.
Oh my God, bro.
You thinking that Peter,
Oh my
exists
God.
is like you thinking that Batman exists, bro. I'm telling you.
Oh my God, bro. Bro, there's so much evidence of them existing, bro. There's
No,
more
bro,
evidence
there
of
isn't.
Jesus walking this earth
Bro,
than Caesar, bro.
as unfathomable as this might be, there isn't, bro. Those are all ancient fiction that was intentionally given to us as reality. Somebody intentionally misled the world because somebody is benefiting from it. If you want to know who misled the world, just look at those who are benefiting from the current state of the world. Who benefits from the influence of
you're
religion?
wrong. I'll tell you why you're wrong. I'll tell you why you're wrong. I'll tell you why you're wrong. Because Assyrians, hold on. Let me get that point. Assyrians were one of the first Christians ever on this earth. And Assyrians are benefiting nothing for being Christian. Actually, Assyrians have been massacred for being Christian. Okay, so you're wrong. You're wrong.
Listen to me.
And Assyrians, hold on. Assyrians aren't the same as Catholics. Our church was founded by St. Thomas. He migrated over to the Middle East, and that's how Assyrians adopted Christianity. So Assyrians are benefiting nothing for being Christian, except for being massacred and being like massacred. That's it. Massacred. So you're wrong.
The Armenians were also massacred, okay?
No. But you said benefit. I'm talking about benefit.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the story of Dionysus?
Refresh.
Dionysus.
Refresh.
Dionysus was a Greek person who was the son of God, who came into the world, was born of a virgin, had 12 disciples, and died for the sins of the world. This is a Greek character, a messianic figure within Greek culture.
What's his name?
Hold up.
What's his name?
Dionysus.
Okay.
Yep. Whose followers were also called Christians before the Jewish movement. In fact, being called a Christian was not necessarily what we know today as Christianity. It seems like there was a certain model of cult leaders that whenever a person would become that type of cult leader, that person's followers would be called Christians. That is why the name Christian was not given to Christians in the Bible by Christians. It was a Roman thing.
Yeah, that's what we call Christians. We call Christians Mishichaye. That's how we say in Neo-Aramaic.
Listen. What I'm saying to you is that those Christians you're talking about from the Bible, those were not the first people to be called Christians. They were already Christians before Jesus was ever born, supposedly. So when this new movement came out of Jerusalem...
Yeah, but Christ is Greek. It's a Greek way. It's Greek. Christ is in Aramaic.
Let me ask you something. Who is God in Greek?
What do you mean, who's God in Greek?
In Greek culture, who's God? Who's the Almighty God? The creator of heaven and earth?
Christ.
No, sir. Zeus.
No, you're talking about mythology. That's they don't believe in that now.
Bro, are you slow?
Yeah, but Assyrians believe in
on now.
See,
Greek mythology is not different from Jewish mythology, bro. What you believe in is Jewish mythology. The Greeks, their mythology was exactly like your religion.
Walking this earth, bro. What do you mean?
The Greek heroes, according to Greek culture, also walk the earth. Hercules.
No, Zeus.
Hercules was the half son of Zeus.
Hercules never walked. It's fake.
According to Greek culture, they did. The problem here that you don't understand. Hold up.
Hold up. You're wrong.
Listen, that old Greek culture simply rebranded, and that's what you have as Christianity today. Listen, bro. Zeus was the god, the father, and Zeus used to make a habit of coming down and getting human women pregnant, and they would give birth to half god, half man. Okay? And they will give birth without having ever slept with a real human man.
That was Assyrian first god ever. That right there. Now
in Assyria, listen, the oldest religion in Assyria is Zoroastrianism. That's
no,
not
you're
the
wrong.
same as Christianity.
That's Persian,
It's
bro.
Zoroastrian.
You're wrong. You're wrong. That's not Assyrian, bro. You're wrong. That's not Assyrian, brother. That's not Zoroastrian. That's Ashur. That's not Zoroastrian, whatever you said. The Persians got it, basically, it's an ancient religion, yes. But Assyrians were never that.
Let me ask you a question. If you died right now, where will you go?
Well, God willingly, heaven.
No. Don't tell me who's willing or who's not willing. Just tell me where. If you die right now, where will you go?
I sin.
No. If you died right now, where will you go?
Like I said, I pray, I go to heaven.
I didn't ask you what you do. I said, where will you go? Where?
I don't know, because I do believe in Christ and I always proclaim his name. But I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect.
I'm not worried about what you are. I'm only worried about where you would go. If you die today, my brother, right now, where will you go? Give me that answer confidently. One word answer. Where?
One word answer? I can't one word answer. I can't do that one word answer, bro.
Check this out. Will you go to heaven or will you go to hell?
I don't know.
And that's why your religion is a scam. Because
No,
despite
it's not a scam.
hold
No,
up.
because
No.
I'm not gonna hold up. I'm trying to explain myself. I'm trying to explain myself. You're not letting me explain, bro.
No, brother.
Hold up. You're telling me
Before
one
you
thing and
explain,
I'm
let
trying
me
to
finish my
explain to you,
statement.
bro.
Let me finish my statement, then you get a chance to explain.
Yeah, but you're not letting me explain.
Because I want to make a comment.
Yeah, of course.
The reason why you don't know if you will go to heaven or hell right now is because you got scammed. That is why as committed
wrong.
as...
I don't-
Hold up.
I'm
Let me
not
finish
perfect.
talking. Let me finish talking.
I'm not
please.
perfect, bro.
Let
I
me
look
finish
at broads.
talking.
I look at girls.
Let me finish talking. The reason why you are not sure if you will go to heaven or hell is because your entire existence in terms of your worldview is a product of a scam, right?
No, wrong.
Bro, let me finish talking.
Yeah, but you're saying one
Whether
thing.
I
I'm
am
saying
wrong
wrong.
or not, let me finish talking. You get a chance to respond when I'm done. Let me repeat myself again. The only reason that you don't know whether if you die right now you will go to heaven or hell is because you have been bamboozled, lied to, and scammed. I don't blame you though. Listen, my brother.
Okay,
How exactly? Hold up. What benefit is your religion if at any given time it could never do the very thing it promises you to do? If your whole point of believing in Jesus Christ is for salvation and you're not even sure of your salvation, have you ever considered the possibility that you could have been lied to genuinely? Or are you fucking gambling with your life? You just hoping, right? You just flip a coin. Because it seems like you're trying to spend your time right now to convince me why you're not going to make it to heaven, right? When you tell me that, oh, I'm a sinner, I look at girls too. It seems like part of you seems more confident of you going to hell than heaven. That's why you didn't tell me the reasons why you're going to go to heaven, but you're telling me the reasons why you might go to hell. It seems like you think you're going to hell.
It's listening to what he says to do. I'm not perfect. And that's why
Are you going to be perfect?
Never.
Okay, that means that your
The only
religion...
time is when I'm setting aside.
If you're never gonna be perfect,
the reason why I say I don't know, because 100% I don't know. I might be so like sinful, like he looks at me like I'm dirt. You know what I mean? So that's the whole point.
Oh, Bongo was thirsty. Now I'm thirsty too.
What'd you say?
Bro, can you imagine you're in college and you don't even know if you're gonna graduate?
Oh, that's different.
No. Listen to me. The whole point of you going to college is to graduate and get a degree. And then you are in college, putting in all your energy, going to every class, studying very hard. And then somebody asks you if you're gonna graduate and you're like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't study. I don't
No,
get all
bro.
straight A's.
Listen, bro. When I say I don't know, I know what he said. You believe in me, you will get into heaven. That's what he says. But I sin, so I sin, and that's where my problem is.
Do you know anybody in your life?
So I know
since the day
sinning
you were
is
born,
wrong, and that's why I don't know. 100%.
Since the day
I
you were
know
born,
100%. He says, if you believe in me, you'll be in heaven.
since the day
That's where I'm at. I believe in him.
since the day you were born,
the
do
devil
you know
believes in
anybody
Jesus
that
too.
made it to heaven?
The devil believes in Jesus too. That's what I'm trying to say.
Do you know anybody that made it to heaven?
Do I know? Yeah.
Who?
Me personally, like I don't know personally, but I know people that have been to heaven, that are in heaven.
Who?
Mary, the disciples.
You know that they went to heaven?
100%, but they're in heaven
You know that how?
because God chose them.
How do you know that God chose them?
Brother, it's written. Everybody knows this. All the
Yeah,
saints.
but hold on. How did anybody know that Peter made it to heaven? Who went to heaven to double check? Who went to heaven and saw Peter there and came and told you that Peter, the disciples, Mary made it to heaven? Who went there and came and confirmed it to you?
Bro, they went to heaven. Okay, I'll tell you who went to heaven.
Who says that they went to heaven? No.
The other guy that was crucified.
Who says that? Who says that they went to heaven? Who says
He
they
went to heaven. He went to heaven. The guy that was beside Jesus. Jesus himself.
Who says that they went to heaven?
Jesus himself.
When did Jesus say they went to heaven?
But this is the thing, brother. You don't even believe he walked this earth. And that's so
Bro,
off,
I am putting your belief system to the test. Who said that Peter went to heaven?
Your thoughts is flying.
Brother,
like you're out in space.
Who said that Peter and Paul were in heaven? Just answer my question.
No matter what anybody says, Jesus walked this earth.
Brother, answer my question.
Like it or not, the Jews talked about him.
Who said that Peter and Paul were in heaven?
There's so much written documents about him, bro.
Stop doing that, bro. Stop doing that. Come on. Answer my question. You can give me good answers. You just keep ignoring my question. Unmute yourself. Brother, who said that Paul and Peter were in heaven?
I say that.
Where did you find out that they were in heaven?
Oh, brother, guys, come on. What does this have to do with what we're talking about anyways?
Because I suspect that you made it up. I suspect that you made it up and lied to yourself, and you've lied to yourself about it for such a long time that you don't even remember.
My God, bro.
Brother, let me finish talking. You've lied to yourself for so long that Peter and the characters in the Bible are in heaven when you don't even know how you came to the knowledge that they were in heaven. You just assume that they were in heaven. You don't have any proof.
It's not assuming.
The Bible doesn't even say that anybody's in heaven.
Bro, he said the Bible says if you trust in me, the only way through God to get into heaven is by knowing Jesus.
The Bible says if you trust in him, how do you
believe
really know
in Jesus.
that?
I love Jesus.
How do you really know that someone trusted Jesus if you were not in their heart?
So I say again.
How do you know that someone trusts Jesus if you're not in that person's heart?
How do I know? I'm confused.
How do you know that somebody trusts Jesus if you are not in that person's heart?
Well, they died horrible deaths.
Dying horrible death don't mean shit.
What it means?
Absolutely ain't shit. It means no shit at all, brother.
Would you die for a lie?
Many people die for a lie. If I believe that something is true when in fact it is a lie, and I go and die believing that it was true, it still doesn't mean that what I believe to be true, though proof shows that it's a lie, that it was true. No, think about David Koresh and Waco. Think about Charles Manson. Think about the Branch Davidians, right? All those cult followers that drank the Kool-Aid. You think they thought that it was a lie? They believed that when they drink the Kool-Aid, they would die and go to heaven. And they all drank the Kool-Aid. Just like you drank the Kool-Aid.
Brother, there's no drinking in Kool-Aid, bro.
Oh, bro, you have drank Christian propaganda Kool-Aid.
Bro. I looked at the world and I seen what's right and what's wrong. I judge through my moral vision and what I see, and
seeing what is right and seeing what is wrong.
Because there's no more God.
Listen
People
to me.
don't believe in God
Listen
no
to me.
more, bro.
Listen
And
to
that's
me.
why this world's going to hell.
Seeing what is right and seeing what is wrong is an absolutely useless thing, because what matters is doing what is right and doing what is wrong. So again, whatever you see, that's your problem.
No,
It's
because-
what you do that matters. Hold on.
you're wrong,
It's-
bro.
Listen to me.
You're wrong.
It's what you do that matters. Let me give you an example. Do you
Yeah, but
masturbate?
you're wrong. You're wrong.
Hold up.
I thought you. Okay, go ahead, but you're wrong.
Hold up. Do you masturbate?
Who doesn't?
I didn't ask you about anybody else. I asked you about you. Do you do that?
Who
Brother,
fucking doesn't, bro?
I am asking you. I'm asking you. Do
What
you
male
do it?
doesn't? I'm telling you what male doesn't. Then what does that answer mean?
Maybe you
Do I have
don't.
to answer it?
Maybe you don't.
Do I have to answer it? I already answered it, bro.
No. I want you to answer me with a yes or no.
But I already did answer it. Who doesn't?
No, yes or no. Do you
No,
masturbate?
but brother, that
Yeah,
is
yes.
the answer.
No.
What
Yes.
male doesn't?
Brother, Jesus.
Yeah, but I'm not Jesus.
But you have
That's
Christ
why
in you.
I'm saying
but you have Christ
I don't
in you.
know. if
Hold
I'm going.
on. Do you not have Christ in you?
Yeah, yes, I do. I do.
Do you have the spirit? Do you have the spirit of God in you?
Brother, yes.
And when you're masturbating, is the spirit of God in you?
No, bro, come on, man.
No. I'm being very honest. This is a very, very honest question. When you're in the act of pleasing yourself, is the Holy Spirit in your heart in that moment?
And that's why I say I don't know, because I sin.
Brother, you're not getting my point.
I am getting your point.
Brother, do you masturbate? Yes or no? Just answer my question that way.
Brother, I already answered it.
I want to see if you have the strength to simply say yes.
What do you mean? I told you already.
It seems you're insecure about the answer. I want you to say it with confidence. Say it with pride.
Brother,
say yes.
Brother,
you better say yes with pride.
I don't have to say yes.
You got to say yes
what I
with
say
pride.
is implying yes. What I'm saying implying yes.
So you don't.
It doesn't matter if I say yes or
listen,
no.
That question is so devastating. You don't even have the courage to just say yes. You have to imply.
No,
because if you say it directly, it's gonna devastate you.
Do you?
Every once in a while.
That's it.
Yes.
But you didn't say yes.
Yes.
You didn't say yes.
Yes, I do.
Okay, then yes, I do.
Okay, good. Okay, now.
No, there's no difference. But me saying, hold on. There's no difference in me saying,
listen.
It doesn't matter.
Hey, check this out. Is it right to masturbate? Or is it wrong?
Is it right or is it wrong? It's wrong.
You're a liar. Your actions tell me that you don't think it's wrong. Your actions tell me that you don't think it's wrong.
It is wrong.
No, it's clearly not wrong because you do it.
I'm not fucking perfect.
Your action says that you believe that being your me is the way.
I told you already.
That's why you do it,
bro. I told you already.
I am not talking about perfection here. I'm not talking about perfection.
Well, that's what it's about.
Listen. I could care less if you were a liar. But one thing I do know from your action is that you are a professional masturbator. And you're lying about it. You're lying about it.
You're fucked up.
You graduated from the University of Peeling Potatoes. But guess what? From my perspective, there's nothing wrong with that. You're human. You're a human male.
There is no. Listen, it's wrong on the biblical level.
So now you got to go into the fairy tale and say it's wrong because in the real world you know it's right. Oh no! Listen, in the real world it's right. That's why you do it. If it wasn't right, you wouldn't do it.
In my eyes, you call that a fairy tale. In my eyes, your belief is a fairy tale, bro. You believe that humans existed since ever, like forever.
Listen to me. If you thought masturbation was wrong, you wouldn't need to tell me. Your actions would tell me when I discover your actions. But when I discover your actions, I found out that you actually think it's right. And yet I can see you opening your mouth right now and telling me that it's wrong. And then when I push you, you say, well, biblically, it's wrong. Well, if it's biblically wrong, but you don't do what the Bible says, what the fuck is the point of having the Bible there?
Okay, like I said.
What's the point of you having the Bible if you don't do what the Bible says?
What do you mean, what's the point? What do you mean, what's the point?
You're not going to do what it says.
It's wrong.
You're not going to do what it says. You're just trying to get credit without the actions. No, you're just trying to get credit for being associated with the Bible.
Bro, I'm not perfect. That's the whole point. What I'm trying to say. I've said it a million times, bro. How many times do I gotta say it?
You are
bro,
perfectly.
You know what's easier?
Listen to me. Listen to me. Listen.
One thing. Just do this instead, bro. Do that when you want to do it. It's easier instead of ducking. You know what I mean? When you duck, it's too much of a headache. Like, see? Look. It's easier to do this. Look, see?
No, there's no need for that.
What are you gonna rather do this all the time? It's like you're playing limbo.
It's okay. Check this out, brother.
Limbo don't have a fucking pop.
No. Hold up. Let me tell you. Here's the reality of your existence. You seem to me like a decent human being, and you seem to me like a cool guy. But you also seem to me like a lost sheep.
No, I'm not lost. I'm totally not lost. How am I lost? I go against what the whole world right now, I should say this society anyways. Okay,
you haven't found your way to the real world.
How am I lost?
In the world where you live, there are talking snakes. There are people who walk on water. There are people who raise from the dead. You don't live in the same world we live in.
I got a question. Okay, you said that. If God created the universe and all these laws and made it this perfected, can God do that?
If God created the world, God would be able to do anything.
So, what do you want me to say?
I want you to say that but unfortunately, the world we observe, we don't see God doing anything.
Of course, there's major evidence of a creator, bro. There's massive evidence.
Where?
What do you mean? Where in the molecular?
Hold on.
In the molecular level.
Hold on. Let me shock your brain. Do you know that there could be a creator and be no God?
What are you talking about, bro?
Because a creator is simply someone who makes something, and we know for sure that in the human world, there are different people who make different things, and there's no reason why if there was a creator in nature, it would not be the same.
Bro.
Yeah, the universe is not one thing. The universe is many things.
The universe is one massive universe.
No, have you ever measured the boundaries of it? That's impossible.
Sorry? Say that again. I didn't hear the last one. Sorry.
The universe itself could not have been created.
What do you mean?
Because universe means everything, everyone, everywhere. Whoever would have created a universe will also count among what makes universe.
Which means what?
Which means that
what?
That means that if there's a creator, the universe created itself.
Everything, everywhere.
No one.
No. Who do I believe that's everything, everywhere?
Who gives a fuck about what you believe? We give a fuck about what the world is.
Listen, brother.
If I also go based on what you believe, then I have to go based on what
creator of this universe.
I go based on what we observe the world to be.
Time started from that. There's always a start.
Let me ask you a question. How does time start? How does time start?
It started when God created it.
How?
That's God, bro. What do you mean?
That's how I know you're full of shit. If you don't know how, what makes you think that you know who or what?
Are you talking about the sun rising? Who created it though? That's what how you say full of shit, bro?
Because nobody has to create natural things.
It's not, brother. It's how did it come to be, bro?
Naturally.
All these laws, all this
Naturally.
You can't create order. You can't create order from chaos, bro.
The entire universe has its roots through electrochemical. Listen, the universe in its fundamental state is just atoms and elements to the best of our knowledge right now. And things take shape and form, not based on any specific intention, but based on the unique constitution of different atoms and elements. When oxygen meets hydrogen, there's just a way that they're going to react naturally. That has nothing to do with whoever has the oxygen, who's pumping the oxygen or pumping the nitrogen, right? Same shit. If you lit a match and you put a lighter and you put it on a paper, the paper is going to react in a certain way.
Is there a lot of order in this world? Is there order in this world?
There is a natural order. There is a natural order
in the universe.
There is a natural order.
No, is there order?
Yes, there is a natural order in the universe.
No, you're putting in natural.
Yes, because
is there order, not natural?
Yes, there is order, and we have figured out that the order is natural. For a fact, we know it's natural.
No, okay, how did it start? Where did it all start? It just came to be?
So, based on our observation, it is a timeless, immeasurable, natural process.
You're wrong, and I'll tell you why. Because all scientists today say there was a beginning of the universe.
Listen to me. Even we figured out that even if someone made the universe, that person will have to exist naturally, meaning that nature will have to exist before that person. So regardless of what you claim the world is, the answer is always going to be natural. Whether it's someone or something, it's natural.
It can't happen natural. There's a beginning.
Are you saying that the universe is artificial?
No, it's created. It's not artificial.
It's created, listen, if it's created and it's not artificial, then it's natural. If something is not, if something is not natural, what is it?
It's not natural. No, natural is. I'm talking about creation.
Yeah, if creation is not natural, what is it?
What do you mean? It's by an intelligent being, made by an intelligent being.
Bro, I don't care if it is by Santa Claus or if it's by Morgan Freeman or if it's by Donald Trump. If it's not natural, what is it?
If it's not, it's a miracle. The universe coming to be is not a miracle. You told me it's natural. It's nothing. It's all. It just started. Come on, bro.
Hey, bro, did you eat today?
A lot. Hey, look at my stomach.
you drank some water?
Oh, I'm drinking lots.
You got a place to stay, my brother?
Oh, for sure. Look at my room.
Then, despite your mental condition, I think you will still be all right. You will be all right, my brother.
Listen, bro.
Despite your...
What I'm trying to say is, there's a start to the universe, bro. And all scientists say this. So if there's a start to the universe, how did it start?
Where was the start of the universe?
He's infinite.
Doesn't that fucking make the universe infinite if it's infinitely
He's
starting?
out of our realm, though. You have to understand. He's not in our realm. He's out of it.
Do you know what else is outside of our realm?
You.
No, I'm serious. Do you know what else is outside of our realm?
What?
Things that don't exist. Thank you for your time, my brother. This has been a great conversation.
No.
It's okay. Listen. Outside of our realm, you will find people who don't exist, things that don't exist, like your God. No problem.
No, because listen.
No problem.
This universe, you can't create order from chaos.
Sure.
I say.
Sure.
And they say there's a beginning with the Big Bang, and it all happened.
Sure.
You're saying that we've been here. Humans have been here. We've been here since the beginning, or there was no beginning. It's just humans, which makes no sense.
You can only have order from chaos. And the day you understand that, my friend, your life will change.
You cannot create, this is science, bro. You cannot create order from chaos, bro.
Hold up. Listen to me. Let me tell you something. Does disorder exist in the world?
Does order exist in the world?
Sure.
For sure.
Okay, which came first, order or disorder?
What came? Order.
If order came first, what created disorder?
God.
So that will make your God evil.
No, why?
Because order will be holiness and righteousness, and disorder will be unrighteousness and unholiness.
Yeah, disorder is created by Satan. Satan is the...
No, you just say your God creates disorder.
Yeah.
You just say your God creates... Hold up. Your
disorder.
God,
it's Satan.
Disorder is chaos.
Disorder is Satan.
No, disorder is chaos.
That's right.
Okay, who created chaos?
What do you mean, who created chaos?
Who created chaos?
Satan. He started everything.
Chaos exists,
He was
right?
sent from heaven to hell.
Hold up. Chaos exists, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Who is the creator of all things?
God.
Who created chaos?
God.
Who created evil?
But God threw his sense of evil, which is Satan.
Who
And
created
Satan
evil?
rebelled and he went down. He shot him down.
Who created evil?
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's Satan.
How can Satan create evil if God is the creator of all
Because
things?
he's the one that actually started it. That's why.
How can he be the one who started it if God created evil?
How can he be the one that God created
If God
evil?
did not create evil, doesn't that mean that God is not the creator
No,
of all
bro,
things?
listen. No matter what happens, we can't fathom the way God thinks, okay?
Yes, we can.
God,
We're not stupid.
Jesus,
Yes,
no.
Yes,
We don't know
can.
nothing. This whole
We can-
universe, we know nothing. We know nothing.
We could fathom what we observe and what we study. So when we study, we fathom things.
See this order?
No. One
this
thing you
order?
need to stop
You
doing.
see this order?
You need to stop lowering human capability to satisfy the egoistic
bro,
portrayal
you're so
of your
wrong.
God. Human beings are not stupid. We have the ability to think critically.
Okay, look.
We can critically analyze the things
This
we
is all
see.
the information. This is all the information of the universe. Everything that's known, that's not known, that we even don't know. Okay? This is everything, all the information of the universe when it comes to math, when it
Human
comes to
beings don't
physics,
focus on
when
what
it
they
comes to
don't know.
everything. How
Listen
much
to me.
do we know of this universe?
Listen to me. You don't get up in the morning and go to a job you don't work at. Okay?
How much do we know? You're not answering.
Listen,
How much do we know of this information, bro?
You don't get up in the morning and go to a job that
How much of this
you're not
information do we
employed.
know? How much
Brother,
of this information do we know?
Brother, listen, we know all of it. Okay?
No, we don't know all of it, bro. Come
Then
on,
why are you showing it to me then?
You're just saying.
Listen, can you show me what we don't know?
No, I
Okay,
can't.
so when the moment you say information, that's because we know it's information. The moment we knew it was information, we have an idea what it is. We start from there and we gain mastery.
This
That's
is
why I
all
said
the
to you,
information of the universe.
You don't get up in the
Hear
morning
me
and go
out.
to a job.
Let me speak.
No, I am speaking though, but I'm speaking.
Yeah, what do
though.
you mean? But you're not letting me talk. You're talking over me, bro.
Because I want you to respond to what
I'm
I'm
asking
saying.
you a question. I do
I
respect
I want
You're
you
not
to
respecting
respond to
me,
what
bro.
I'm saying. Respond to what I'm saying.
Okay, how many times I'm trying to explain something to you, but then I got to keep responding to you, bro.
Go to a job that you are not employed at.
Oh, sorry?
Do you get up in the morning and go to a job where you haven't been employed?
No.
All right. Human beings don't worry.
You cut out, bro. You cut out. You mute. Something happened.
Okay.
Sorry, what did you say there?
With even you, nobody lives their lives based on what they don't know. Everybody lives their lives based on what they do know. But our relationship with what we don't know takes different shapes and form. In some people, it's fear. In some people, it's anxiety. In some people, it makes them insecure. In some people, there's curiosity. In some people, there is motivation, you know. But no matter what you do in this world, you will never arrive at what you don't know unless you have an understanding of what you do know. That's why we focus on mastering what we do know. Then we use what we do know to now navigate into places that we might not know to see if we can find things that we didn't know. Okay, that is just how the world works. Okay. So if you're gonna live your life based on the existence of a God you don't know, that's your problem. Like I said,
No, I do know who he is. I do know who he is. But now let me ask you something. Here's all the information of the whole world, of the universe, everything that coming from physics to the laws to everything. How much of this information do we know? How much?
We know everything we know.
How much of the information that's out there do we know?
100%.
No. Come on, bro.
Do we know what? Do we know what we don't know?
I'm gonna let you be. I'm gonna let you be.
No.
I'll come back another day.
Do we know what we don't know? No, brother. Do we know what we don't know?
Of course not, but you're not letting me speak.
Okay, so if we don't know what we don't know,
but you're talking about
what we don't know,
you're going
what is what we don't know?
You're going in circles, brother. I asked something you don't want to admit to it.
You asked me if we know all the information that is out there.
I will let you be.
Is there any information we don't know?
I'll let you be, brother. I'll let you be.
Thank you for your time, then.
Take care.
This is is a classic Bakanga ass whooping. The purpose of these conversations is not necessarily to make you anxious or to confuse you, but it's to have you observe two people with two different mindsets interacting, right? And we want to arrive at somewhat of a conclusion. It never necessarily ends that way, but I hope that through the exchange of, ideas, in whatever way, shape, or form it might have been, you get a chance to look at your own belief system and see if you are aligned with the reality of the world as it is. Because in the generation we live right now, we cannot afford to be delusional, right? You got to be real with yourself and you got to be real with the world. Anything else, that's your problem. You know what I'm saying, y'all? Thank you so much. Hey, he's a cool dude. Seems like a cool dude, And he believes what he believes. It is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, I got to go. Guys, if you guys like what I'm doing, y'all, definitely check out my content here and on YouTube. All the links are in my description. And if you're feeling generous, you can see my Cash App and my PayPal. Link is also in the description. It's been a month since I've been online, y'all. And I know some of you do miss the show. And yeah, I've just been busy. But I'm going to try to be consistent, right? So we can entertain ourselves and maybe learn something. However, until next time, I apologize to everyone I wasn't able to bring up, guys. I will be bringing you up next time. Just make sure to come back. Check out our content on YouTube at Bakanga Land. And until next time, y'all, Bakanga is out.
Welcome to the Desert Show.
Of course, I'm a pirate. I'm hijacking religions in the sea of life.
Even when we disagree, we still not enemies. Relax and understand. Even when we disagree, we still not enemies.
Don't tape the screen, share that, repost that. Welcome